And we are live. What is good, brothers? Hope all is well in these COVID-19 racialized streets in North America. We have another show today. I'm about to bring my brother on soon, my brother Ramil Amyr, to discuss a part two of Can Brothers Build a Black Wall Street in America in 2020. I know it's a lot going on right now in the streets. We just had another shooting out here in Atlanta, Georgia, in the Wendy's drive-through. A brother fell asleep and got into it with a couple of police officers, and they roughed him up. They was trying to jump on him and whatnot. Witnesses say that he was being compliant. He probably was trying to defend himself. Nobody want to get tased and roughed up. Unfortunately, man, when he tried to run off, they shot him in the back like some cowards. And the mayor actually had a press conference this evening, and she fired the police officers, which, in my opinion, don't really mean much because they just fired the police officers. They literally go across the street or down the street in another county. So that's a very touchy subject. I believe the police commissioner or the police chief resigned because she didn't want the officers to face any discipline, which is very unfortunate. But I commend Keisha Lance Bottoms for doing that. You know, this cowardly policing, I still don't understand why would a white male want to police a majority black community anyway. I'm not sure if it's a lack of police officers or for why they do that. But, you know, I would assume if I was a police officer, I would want to police the community I grew up in or a community with people that look like me. Would be a little bit much easier. All these police shootings, man, as you notice, they're all white males. And the thing is, I'm sitting here like this whole shooting people in the back, which is to me, it's just murder. You know, cowardly policing, in my opinion. Very sad, brother. It's very sad that man lost his life for something very simple. You know, he went to Wendy's to get something to eat, you know, late at night, and now he's dead. So we got a lot going on in this country right now, man. Brothers got to be really cognizant of the temperature that we're at. You know, you gotta move on high alert. You know, it was already tough to be a black man, you know, pre-Obama administration before the policing got really tough. The gentrification got really serious because that's what it all kind of stemmed from, that they want to gentrify these black neighborhoods. So I'm going to wait till a few more people get into the room. We got one person in the room. And then we're going to kick off because this is a powerful subject, man. I'm going to go to the group real quick and show you exactly if I can find that poll that we did to see the brothers' opinions. Let me see here. Get this off the screen. The computer running a little slow right now. But I want to see, we did a poll on the Facebook page, and it looked like it was about 50-50 as far as what brothers really felt about being able to build another Black Wall Street in America in 2020. And I'm also going to explain what's going on the screen as far as this businesses in DC, black-owned businesses in DC facing gentrification, where the businesses are at. So basically, I'm going to go into that a little bit later once we get a few more people in the room. You know, the funny thing is, man, you know, in my travels, I do see a lot of black-owned businesses, really small businesses, you know, little shops near the beaches and stuff. But in Brazil, if you didn't know, if you haven't been there, in those favelas, it's a lot of businesses in those favelas, man. And I was just really kind of shocked and proud at the same time of them for putting that together. Like you go through the favelas and you just see a lot of, people of color, black people, basically Brazilians, with their own little shops, man. I think they tap into the power. This power core is all over the place. It's like 100. It's crazy out there, man. It's just more of a community. Like they were allowed to pretty much maintain their independent community outside the government for the most part. The businesses in the favelas in Brazil, and I'm not sure about the DR, but I don't think they got to worry about facing property taxes. Let's see, got any comments so far? But yeah, brothers, the last show we had on my brother Edward Anderson, and a lot of brothers was passionate about what they were saying in their views. We did come up with, a pretty good debate that brothers need to have as far as what's more important, education or culture. What's going on, Mugen Black? And in my opinion, the culture comes first. I know education is very, very important, but when you see these immigrants in our neighborhoods with these businesses, a lot of them don't really have. Mufasa Shabazz, you want to come on the show, brother? We're doing a part 2. I know we was having technical difficulties with you, so if you want to come on, man, I'm gonna put a link right here. If you want to come on and get the floor for a moment, because I know you had some thoughts of yourself. I thought Black Torch, you was Black Torch, so it was a little confusion right there. But here goes the link in the chat. So yeah, man, education versus culture. But like I was saying, as far as the immigrants, a lot of them are not superly highly educated. Their children will be, because they get to send their children to schools like Georgia Tech and Georgia State, and that'd be the next generation. But what they really have is culture first. They believe in spending money within their own, helping each other out. As soon as one of them open up a gas station, they invite all their brothers and sisters and cousins and third and fourth cousins to work in that gas station before they hire our black ass. Meanwhile, we got to work all types of crazy jobs. And these are the communities that we grow up in. Why is that? We got to dissect that, bro. We got to talk about this, because a lot of problems come with us because we just don't have the conversations. And once we had the conversations and dissect why do immigrants own these multi-million-dollar businesses in our neighborhoods and they don't give nothing back to our neighborhoods, we can come up with a battle plan to get them on up out of there. I mean, that's harsh talk because it's nothing personal. It's all business. But brothers really got to talk about this. Right now, you have black-owned business owners in DC being basically gentrified. They cannot pay the property tax. They're fighting to have their businesses. This is what this article is about. All right. They can't afford the business tax, the property taxes. The property taxes for a business in a not traditional, but a small district with a few black-owned businesses, not a lot, where the area's been gentrified around these businesses near Howard University. And they cannot afford the $30,000 a year they would have to pay. That's one element of how they deter black-owned businesses, bro. Once again, this is things that we got to talk about as brothers. We go in these stores, these gas stations, we buy some chips, we buy some blunts, we buy a little, what I'm saying? What's my drink? Michelob Ultra, few bucks here, get some gas, and we don't think nothing of it. We think these foreigners, not making that much because they're taught their culture to not really show you how much money that they're spending. I mean, that they're making off of us. But in reality, these people are making like millions of dollars within these black communities, brothers. Gas stations, grocery stores. That's the biggest downfall of our communities, really, is the fact that we don't own the businesses within them. And if we don't own the businesses within them, we don't have a community. We have neighborhoods. But once again, once we start to have these conversations, we can move accordingly as a group of men. In my opinion, I feel like they have just too many weapons. They don't have to necessarily bomb it any longer. You know, they can rezone, regentrify, build a highway, eminent domain. They can do all types of things. And let me guys know if you guys can hear me good in the chat. Just press a 1 if you guys can hear me in the chat. Earlier, I was doing a little research and I was looking at Tanzania. Now I know that's a lot of far for brothers. Brothers thinking like, damn, brother, Tanzania, that's a little bit out there. But when you see things like rent is $8 a month, and I know this is like, you know what I'm saying, this is just throwing some stuff on a smorgasbord right now. We just throwing out ideas and everything. I'm not saying that brothers should be moving all the way to East Africa or anything like that, but I'm just throwing out ideas. I'm just giving you, you know, a gauge of the strongness of the American dollar, basically, the USD, right? I think right now in Brazil it's like 5-1. You probably can buy. When I was down there in 2017, brothers were telling me you can buy an apartment on the beach for about 30 grand. I'm not sure. You know, right now it's probably around the same price. But to focus on doing business internationally as brothers, you understand, where they might not be not knowledgeable, but they might not be, it might not be such a target on your back when you got 3 brothers that try to open up businesses right next door to each other. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, if me, Mufasa Shabazz, and Mugan Black all of a sudden wanted to open up a couple of businesses in the neighborhoods that we grew up in, there's maybe 3. They probably won't be on high alert if it's 3, maybe about 7 to 10. That's when they'll start going on alert. They'll be like, well, wait a minute, you know, hold on, these is Johnny Jackson, Leroy Jones. Wait a minute. These are black men. Let's get some immigrants up in here. Let's get some minority owners up in here. You understand what I'm saying? This is the type of stuff they do. And if push come to shove, they will build a highway through your shit. This is what we got to understand, brothers. They do not want to see another Black Wall Street in America. But I know brothers have this hope. You know, we hope this, we hope that. Bobby Midnight Harrison, we got to do another show on the crypto, bro. We definitely got to do another show on the crypto. Let me send my brother Ramil another message. But yeah, man, I just want brothers that's going to understand the plight that we face as Black businessmen in America. A lot of people don't know the backstory. A lot of people don't know the backstory of these Black Wall Streets. A lot of people don't know the backstory of what happened in Charleston, South Carolina, and Wilmington, North Carolina, on how they was literally hunting down wealthy Black businessmen. How they would put, the Klan would put Black men on what they call, let me tell you what baseball cards originated from. It's always a racial element to everything. You ever notice that, you know, the picnic, pick a nigga, you know, the throwing the baseball, throwing the baseball to hit the little target and dumping in the water. That was all racialized. All this little, you know, songs and stuff, all this stuff was racialized, right? But the baseball cards, what the baseball cards originated was from was Klan was putting pictures of Black business owners, wealthy Black men up there in South Carolina, and putting a bounty on it. And they would trade these little cards around. You know, you got a card for $5,000 for this nigga over here up there in South Carolina that own a little taxi company, or, you know, whatever business it was. You know, and they would trade cards, and they would really go out there and hang a Black businessman. A lot of times, and this came from a conversation between Judge Joe Brown and another brother. And Judge Joe Brown was saying that a lot of the hangings came from 2 major reasons. A lot of people think that, you know, they promote that, you know, a Black man was whistling at a white girl or whatnot, or a black man, you know, raised his hand at a white man, or he was looking at a white woman. Now that happened, and that was pretty common, but underneath that, a lot of it came from just overall white male jealousy at black brilliance. You know, we think that it was just black men just walking down the street and you know, white men to pull up on you and, you know, grab you and hang you. No, a lot of these brothers was wealthy. A lot of these brothers was intelligent. A lot of these brothers had businesses. You had oil barons in Tulsa, Oklahoma that they murdered. You know, you had black people running for state offices that they murdered. All types of situations. And we all know what happened in Black Wall Street. It was a claim that, you know, some black man brushed up against a white woman and they killed people. And the truth behind Black Wall Street was those white people were actually losing their ass off. A lot of people don't understand. They think that we just sat there and got our ass whooped. That wasn't the case. That was not the case. They used the U.S. Air Force on our black ass. I try to tell brothers, anytime we do some type of self-defense, basically, it's like an act of war. When brothers try to defend something, it's always an act of war. It's always taken to the umpteenth degree. You know, you look how they killed that brother out there, the ex-LA cop, Christopher Dorner. You look how they killed him. They just shredded the whole house up. The brother that killed those police officers in Dallas, they thought it was two. The brother was so well trained. I saw the video. That brother was taking them out. They put like a $2 million robot and rolled it up to a car and just blew the hell the robot up. This is how cowardly they do. They won't even face you 9 times out of 10, brothers. They always got to do the extraordinary. When they hung brothers back in the, you know, in the day, they would do all types of sadistic things, cutting off stuff and throwing up in mason jars and selling it off. There always got to be some sadistic shit with us. It can't be just business. They got to go the extra ump. Let's read some of these comments here. Army vet, great channel, brother. I appreciate that. My brother, Bobby McKnight Harrison. I am from DC. Gentrification has been going on since early 2000s when they put the Wizards Stadium in the middle of DC. Yeah, brother. We all know about how they do with them stadiums. You know, I know Jay-Z got a lot of slack for that Barclays Center, but, you know, we know how it goes down. Well, they want black people to have a whole city of wealth in America. Army vet, this is what I'm saying, man. My brother says they want black people to have a whole city of wealth in America. Maybe we can do in overseas. Army vet, are you familiar with the brothers that opened up a little businesses out there in Vietnam during the Vietnam War? I got to look more into that story of, you know, was history to see the details of it. But I know brothers was just like, the hell with Vietnam. You had a little group of brothers that started opening up little bars out there in Vietnam for the GIs. Elliot Wilson, what's going on, my brother? Hey, if you want to come on the show again, you know, hey, let me know, man. I'm gonna drop this. It's an open panel, so I'm gonna drop this link for any of the brothers that want to come on. Like I said, this is important conversations, man, because I know how difficult it is to start a business, man. And the type of money and type of sacrifices that a lot of brothers and sisters make to open up these businesses just to be sabotaged for the most part. It's a reason why we have immigrants being business owners in our neighborhoods that we grew up in. And generally speaking, if you have just a few small business in the black neighborhood, in these black neighborhoods, man, they can employ a lot of people and change a lot of lives, man. In Greenbrier Mall in Atlanta, Georgia, the food court, right? It's a lot of little small black businesses within that food court. We got CP Potato owned by a black couple. To the left of it, you have like a little shake shop, you know, and then you got what's the other one? Mr. Everything. That's a brother that owned it. And the vibe, the energy, it's just so good. You know what I'm saying? Like you spending money with your own, it just feels so natural. We got Boosie be coming up in there. You know, I mean, it's a couple of Indians. You know, for the most part, the mall is, of course, dominated by, you know, immigrants and major stores like, you know, Foot Locker and all that, Macy's. But just the food court, a lot of black people just hang up in the food court, you know, because it just feels natural to exchange your money with people that look like you. Mufasa Shabazz, what's on, brother?
Hey, what's going on? You hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you good now, man. Yeah, I can hear you good.
Nah, yeah, I'm up in here, man. Is it? I seen Ramil's name. He coming on the panel too?
I sent him a link. He just told me to send him a link, so he'll probably be here
Okay.
shortly.
Yeah, we done talked about this a bunch of times on his page.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the thing is, as far as can we build a Black Wall Street? I mean, you know, I'm of the mentality that anything is possible.
Mm-hmm.
If you put your mind to it, but it's a matter of what makes more sense. You know what I mean? And like
Mm-hmm.
I said yesterday, or whatever day that was, it's the logistics of building that Black Wall Street here. And why would you want to build something here, right? Like I said
Mm-hmm.
on your channel the other day, why would I want a street on another man's nation when I could build a Black Wall nation? Why have a Black Wall Street when I could have a Black Wall nation? You know what I'm saying? And I
Mm-hmm.
think it makes more sense you have Chinatown, Greek Town, Little Haiti, all these other things, you know, Korea, Little Korea, whatever it is, Koreatown. But to have a Chinatown, you need a China, and etc. Koreatown, you need a Korea, and that's what we need is that home base to be able to build a street here that corresponds with the nation. Because in the end of the day, you need your own land where you create everything from the top to the bottom. The land, the
Exactly.
laws, the military, all of that. You need that. Every group of men on the planet has that, except Black American men don't have it. And it's not just that we don't have it, right? We don't even have the will to get it, right? So you'll
Mm-hmm.
have people that'll come on here and say, well, my bones is buried here, blah, 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 and we should do it here. You know, we got to do it right here because of whatever reason, right? This person is not even worried about the fact that they don't have a nation. They don't even want one. And the only thing, and like I said, that just shows a high level of brainwashing, and your balls just ain't working. Because I don't understand how every other man on the planet, literally, you can't name me a group of men that's just without a land. Now
Right.
you could say that this is your land, but I don't understand how you could say that when we all know exactly who runs the land. Like I said, we could start tap dancing and playing games. Uh, um, Shout out to Ramil the other day. He had a panel about did we build America, right? I say no, right? But if you ask somebody did blacks build America, they're going to say we physically built it, right? But in no other context would somebody say, like for instance, if I ask you who built Microsoft, what's
Right.
your answer?
Bill Gates,
Who built Apple?
Steve Jobs.
It's not even a discussion. You see what I'm saying? So it's
Mm-hmm.
like, what race built America? White people built it because they made all the decisions to do it. Now, your slave labor is not something that should be written out of history, but it was slave labor. And you
Mm-hmm.
can't, the labor is not the person that you call the builder. We don't call the contractors that built the Walmart that Sam Walton built. The contractors aren't who we attribute with the building. We don't attribute the cashier with the building. You attribute the person who had the vision and pushed it through, right? So we need to do that for ourselves somewhere because all these problems brothers having with women, you understand, you don't have land, you don't have women. That's the main thing when you go to war. You spoke on this. That's why I
Mm-hmm.
know where your mind is. If you go to war, if I go to war and I defeat you, your women are now mine because you can't protect
Exactly.
them. You know what I
Exactly.
mean? You can't protect them.
They're the
That
booty of
simple.
war, literally.
Yep. Yep. And at this point, it's been so long that we've been here. All people can see is like people that'll say, "Oh, we should do it right here." All they can argue is that we should do it right here because it's the path of least resistance. It has nothing to do with the pride of ownership and the benefits of ownership, right? Which is as a man is what you should be looking at. You know what I'm saying? I don't. If my daughter comes in with her homework and she say it'll be the path of least resistance for her to finish her homework is for her to cheat. But I'm not gonna let her do it because I know the benefit of her doing it herself. You see what I'm saying? You do what's right. You do what's right. You don't do what's most easy. You do what your people need done. As a man, you got to be the asshole to say, look, I know y'all want to do this, but we need to do this because I see in the long term, this is how it's going to benefit us, you know?
Exactly.
And yeah, I mean, and that's where I'm at with the build it. I say, why build a street when you should build a nation? You need a nation. And like I said, and I don't want to dominate the conversation. I don't know if you want to jump in.
No, you go ahead, bro. You flowing. You just speaking truth to power.
Yeah, because I was at, my pops, man. He's a retired Navy, and I was at his house the other day, man. I was using his truck to move some stuff, and he's like, he had to move all this stuff. He started this whole business, man. He started a car wash, a mobile detailing business. He is like in his 50s, and he just started a business. He hiring people. He got contracts and all. He is fully retired with a pension. Don't have to do any of that. You know what I'm saying? But it's just in his nature as a man to build. This is what he does. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, bro, this is the kind of people, the kind of men, right? He spent all his time taking care of a family, helping people all his life, putting himself on the line, And these are the kind of men that we are. There's a ton of us. His story don't get told enough, but there's a ton of men like that. And my thing is, why do you want to give up yourself as a human resource to a country that doesn't give a shit about you, and they'll just kill my dad at a traffic stop? You see what I'm saying?
Exactly.
After all that you have contributed to this country, you'll just kill you at a traffic stop, and you guys are okay with that because you feel like it's easier to get access to capital or whatever your reason is. America functions better as a society, and that's another argument. People will say, well, if you go to Africa, it's this problem, it's that problem, it's that problem. America, you don't have those problems. I mean, it's like, bruh, we know that. You know what I'm saying? You're not telling me, like, whenever I bring up Africa, the first thing people want to say is that there's these problems and those problems don't exist here. There's not a country in Africa that functions better as a government, right? I don't know of a stronger government in Africa than what is in America. So, I already understand that. That's not the point. But it's not about what is the easiest thing to do. It's about what's yours, right? When you turn 18 or whatever age you were when you left your parents' house, most likely it was a downgrade. But you built up your home when you left. And then now you could say, look, at least I ain't got my mama standing over me. I got my own home. This little apartment or studio apartment, it ain't the home I left, but it's mine. And that's the same mentality we need to have.
Exactly. That's very true, brother. Do you think it's like do you think people have a fear of basically just moving overseas in general, and that's why brothers don't have these conversations?
Yeah. I think it starts with the lack of will. Right. So when I say, hey, we need to go somewhere, if you don't have the will, like, see, if you don't have a problem with being the white man's bitch, I can't even start. I can't talk to you because you have no problem. You're not uncomfortable, and a lot of our people are too comfortable. And I know we have these whole spans, like when they kill a person and it gets highly publicized and we all know about it. You deal with the anger, right? But anger is an emotion and emotions change. You know what I mean? So these things like what you're seeing right now is just like stocks, is just like anything in life. What goes up quick comes down twice as fast. You know what I'm saying? So the emotions go up. Everybody's angry, all this action, everybody's tearing things up, everybody wants to be involved. It's going to go down twice as fast. And at the end of the day, it's about what's in your core, right? So when everybody forgets about this, I'm still angry. Brothers like me and you, it's burning inside us every single day to the point where you're created a channel and an entire lifestyle based on dealing with this problem that's inside of you. You don't just get angry when a brother gets killed. See what I'm saying?
Exactly.
If you're not at that point, now if you're at that point, you don't know what to do, I could work with that. But the average brother is not at that point, right? They just, they're angry for the time being. And whenever they put the NBA back on, you're going to be good. They crack a beer and put the NBA on, you forget about it.
Exactly. Distractions.
Yeah.
Keep them entertained and fed.
Right. Drinking and drugging, watching sports.
I always tell people, man, is it better to be a man with nothing or a boy with everything? And that's the big thing that black men gotta decide. You know, do you want just a bunch of creature comforts, but not really be independent, like not really have ownership in the communities that you live in, or you just kind of working towards creature comforts? You just working toward a little wife and a little 9 to 5 and a little house that's going to take you 30 years to pay off, that you probably going to lose in the first place because you're going to divorce your ass. And then you can't
Right.
really raise your kids in this system because your kids can't really, you know what I'm saying? Like, she kind of run the show. She really kind of low key disrespect you. It's just a lot.
And it's like, even if you manage to get that, the
Yeah.
whole entire every other facet of society is against you, bro. Like, you know how much it is, how hard. You got any kids?
I don't have any children.
Yeah, so it's like everything you teaching them, you gotta unwind everything that they interact with in society. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So what you're teaching them goes against all the movies they see. What you're teaching them goes against all the TV they watch. It goes against the schooling. It goes against everything. So that's why I'm just like, bro, my I didn't plan my daughter, and I wasn't conscious when I had my daughter. I was a totally different dude. You know what I'm saying? But now I understand now, you have to control that whole situation, which when you have your children, to even have a shot. And even if you control your whole situation, being in America is just so many things going against you, bro. Is it even worth trying to do it that way, man? Seriously.
I have a question. Well, first, welcome my brother Ed to the show. How you doing, Ed?
Yeah, I'm doing all right. Just happy to join the conversation. Always good to talk travel, what it takes to get brothers off their ass and actually doing it.
That's
Exactly.
Edward Anderson.
Yeah, Edward Anderson.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay. We got to build at some point, man.
Yeah, I got another
You be
acronym.
stereotyping me, man.
Hey,
You
hold
be
on,
Stereotyping you.
Hey,
yeah, bro.
hold that tight. I just want to answer this question real quick. Free World 227 says, where should we go other than America to build? You want to tackle that real
Two
quick?
options. Yeah, there's two options to me, right? So you have option number one. To me, you find a black nation, whether it be in the Caribbean or Africa, preferably Africa, and integrate into the society, become a citizen, and build there, and see what you can do to change the system, to be Pan-Africanist, black first thinking, so we can unify and have a chance against the overwhelming out forces that we have as black people. So pick an African country, pick a Caribbean country, integrate in. Or black people can get together, find land, and create our own country that we can build, from scratch. Those are our two options, in my opinion.
Okay, Edward, you want to take a stab at that?
I mean, my thing is, what's the question again? You said what place can somebody go and build?
Yes. Where should we go other than America to build?
I mean, at the end of the day, what black men have to understand is there's going to be two things to look at this here. You have to look at the individual situation, which it means putting yourself in position, and what folks are going to do as a group. Going overseas is not going to necessarily solve the problem of black men having a problem working together as a group. That's a different type of issue. Yes, America helps to exacerbate that situation, but that does not just automatically change just because you leave the country. So when people ask where, I mean, I would say to go to Africa before going to the Caribbean, personally. But that's personally me. Um, so
I
I would
agree with you.
say, Ghana, because the problem with the Caribbean is the Caribbean has is too it's too close to America, number one. So motherfuckers think they can come back. And number two, a lot of the stuff, the trajectory of stuff, it would just be smarter going to Africa, particularly West Africa. So I'm thinking Accra, like I said before. I mean, honestly, if we didn't have an issue with the Civil War, I would probably say Liberia before that. But I'd say Accra. I'd say Accra, maybe a couple other cities. But I would say Africa, and then we could talk about where later.
Yeah, I know Bob Johnson was doing something in Liberia after he sold BET. I'm not sure what happened with that. Anybody know about that? Because he was bidding like
I'm not hip to
hotel.
it.
Yeah, he was doing a lot of stuff out there in
I'm
Liberia.
not the problem. Liberia was a colony of the United States of America, the only colony U.S. had in Africa, and ex-slaves went to Liberia. So when you look at the population especially compared to what our population is now, it's pretty much the size of Maryland. There'd be a lot of things that could be built on. I could go like into detail on that. There needs to be a video about that. It's really a travesty that Black people don't know about Liberia. I didn't know about it until recently. Shout out to Search for Uhuru. When I say recently, a couple of years ago. But at the end of the day, Liberia would have been the #1 place for us to go because that was already established. We already had a lot of the stuff you're talking about as far as political, all that stuff was done. The problem is in the 70s, and this part of this is the United States' fault. The Civil War basically removed generations of shit that ex-slaves did to build it up. But I would say, Ghana is always low-key trying to act like they offering for us to come back. They just need to get serious about that and give us passports and fuck them lease 50-year lease options. Let us get actual land. So there's issues there, but I don't see the Caribbean is viable for Black people to go to if you're serious about going as a group.
I wanted to correct you. Liberia wasn't a colony. Liberia was an independent country.
Liberia was a colony before it was an independent country.
Nah, that's false. It was its own independent country. The American, I think it's the American Colonization Society, got together to make the idea. There was a bunch of people who wanted to have the slaves be able to go there and do that. That was like one of their tactics for ending slavery. Some people believed in that option of sending people back and repatriating them.
It was Abraham Lincoln that tried that.
He was one of them. He was one of the members. He was one of the people, the investors too. It wasn't a colony of the U.S. They sent the people back. Liberia was independent, had its own constitution.
Yeah, so I'll be cool with going into literature and getting that 100%. But it's very interesting that if it wasn't a colony, it's an independent nation, and America just happens to basically decide that here's land, and ex-slaves just decided to be able to control an independent nation without going to war up until pretty much the 1970s, in which it actually was a civil war that was created. But okay, so in all for it was, as far as I'm concerned, okay, in name only it could be an independent nation, but pretty much if you look at what was dictated to it, it might as well have been Puerto Rico. So we can say Puerto Rico technically is an independent nation too, because they don't pay taxes, but all intents and purposes, when if you can put somebody on land and then dictate what happens to the extent that America was dictating to them, it didn't seem like they had their own country, because America wasn't doing that to that extent, that directly with any other African country.
Well, why are you saying that they were dictating it to them? They had their own.
Well, I mean, because at the end of the day, Liberia was selling, when ex-slaves went to Liberia was still in the process of low-key shipping slaves out. So the thing is, I don't see how you let somebody repatriate. Like, I don't see where Liberia actually made the decision to say, okay, we're going to accept these people to take our shit, if they were an independent nation. But I really don't care about that. At the end of the day, Liberia, we had the infrastructure that was built there. What? That's the point that people need to pull from it.
The decision to take what? What are you talking about?
So
are you holding? You're saying that Liberia
is still exporting. If a country is still exporting slaves, let's just get this one by one. So you do understand that Liberia was still in a process of exporting slaves by the time ex-slaves actually got there. You don't understand that?
Now in Liberia, all the native tribes of Liberia were all involved in the slave trade. But
that's what I'm talking about.
But that had nothing. See, you got to remember, the ACS was full of abolitionists that wanted to end slavery. Abraham Lincoln being one of them. So their whole thing was to go there, and they wanted to end slavery. They didn't want to trade slaves. The first Liberian president was involved in raiding some of those slave ships and they were going against that. They weren't trading slaves. Not now the tribes that were there were slavers, and that was a part of the friction when the ex-slaves got there. but
Okay, hold on.
they weren't.
Real quick, brother. So, because I heard that the African Americans went over there and started enslaving them. So it was the opposite.
No. Not like how you would know that's not what happened. Not like how you would think.
No, they were using them as like laborers, basically. Right.
Okay.
So fighting for land,
kind of like
land,
what Jews
taking
do.
over land. Right. Taking over
they were
land,
an organized force, and because you gotta remember, ex-slaves were incredibly skilled. This is why white people form unions in the United States, by the way. This is one of the reasons, because ex-slaves were incredibly skilled. There's also a big reason why we were able to develop Black Wall Streets like we were, because we were incredibly skilled. You gotta remember too, the type of African Americans you're dealing with at this point are people that went from almost a 0% literacy rate to an extremely high literacy rate within a 30-year period as far as the population. So these are the type, and then you got to also understand that some of these ex-slaves were actually mulatto, were pretty much mulatto type. So kind of like Jack and Jill Boulay types, not necessarily before that kind of stuff was formed. So these were people that were incredibly organized. So basically, even though they were a minority, they were an organized minority, and they didn't enslave the tribes, but they were basically able to outmaneuver them and then become a higher class. This is why they had control of the political system. And then, like what Scott said, part of that friction was these were tribes that were basically selling folks. So part of what the first president did was he was stopping that. But my point is, the people that were there, this is where I come back to, how was it their decision to accept ex-slaves when these same tribes were selling slaves?
Yeah,
that was what the fight was about. That was what it was, and it has to be noted too. They weren't acting alone. They were backed from the very beginning of it, like you're saying, by those white abolitionists that wanted to do that and had economic interest and did all the trading and all of that with Liberia.
Are you talking about trading for slaves?
No, trading for it wasn't just slaves. The resources.
You talk about rubber.
Yeah, the resources, just all the resources that they were getting from there.
Yeah, so
mainly rubber. I mean,
Firestone was. So you talk about the whites had an advantage to put the African Americans, the ex-slaves, there in order to do trading at that point and down the road.
Yeah, they were partners.
And that's why this is and that's important, because that's what I'm talking about.
That was the point.
As far as the model that it could have been, as far as Black people having their own country, but still having some semblance of kind of like a Puerto Rico.
Like a little support from the American government, basically.
Basically like a Puerto Rico.
Right. Hey, real quick, I want to recommend my brother Ramil.
Go ahead.
Yeah, what's up, brother?
What's going on? What's good?
Hey, man, I appreciate you coming through, man. I know you're supposed to lead off today, but I was a little late sending you the link. So, yeah. Ellie, you want to go ahead and finish your thought, and I'm going to get Ramil to speak on it.
Well, yeah. Well, like I said, this is the thing that folks don't think about, because they always look at it like an either or. And I'm not sitting here saying to not go overseas and not do what you need to do first, because Lord knows it's a different situation now. But like when you look at what the situation is now in Africa, as far as America needing to vie for resources, you see, this wouldn't have been as much of a problem, because even up till the 1970s, where the Civil War broke out, a lot of this stuff was already established. I mean, Firestone as a corporation is obviously still established, so it would have been there, but the Civil War fucked it up. And to be fair, America's it's rumors the CIA helped stoke that shit. So white people has always had this debate about letting us do our own thing, and then whether it's here or whether it's abroad. This is why when white people talk about go back to Africa, that shit's funny, because motherfuckers don't even want you really to do that to a certain extent. There's certain ones that they really want you to kill you off, some of them. They don't even want you to go nowhere. So anyway,
this is the thing. In the end of the day, hold on, I'm gonna let Ramil go. He said that Ramil was next.
Yeah, so brother, what's your thoughts on can black men build a Black Wall Street in America, basically? What's your take on it?
Of course we can. It's just, do we have the fortitude to build it and defend it vigorously? But America is still pretty much top 3, if not the number 1 place in the world for economic opportunity. I mean, there's opportunities all over the world, but as far as for for your greatest chance of success, it still is America. It's just black men. We don't seem to want to participate in the game over here.
What do you mean by success?
I mean, there's more. What do you mean, like as far as
You talking about
Yeah,
individuals?
just when you're saying greatest chance of success, right? What do you mean? Go ahead.
Well, because America is pretty much the wealthiest country in the world. So if you start a business here, or it's going to have a greater chance to succeed because there's more money and more people with money here that can buy what you're offering.
Which group would you say is the most successful in the world right now?
On a worldwide level, it's
race-wise.
Race-wise, the Europeans, Caucasians.
Captains of industry.
I would just ask. I don't want to break your flow.
No, but I mean, yeah, but what I was just saying is that, like, I'm not saying this can't change in the future because America is on a slight decline, but currently, yes, you can build a Black Wall Street in America. Immigrants come here and build their own Wall Streets all the time. And, it's just not downplaying any other opportunities out there. But, yes, black men can build a Black Wall Street in America in 2020, and it could be going strong if we decide to really put our efforts into it.
But the question is, brother, how do we defend it? That's the problem. The rezoning, the eminent domains, the gentrification.
Well, the same way you defend the other races defend theirs. I mean, all those things you named. I mean, gentrification is what happens when you don't defend what you have. Eminent domain is not necessarily the government just coming in and taking your shit. They got to give you first. They got to win and prove it's a good reason for them to take it. And then, second of all, if they do win, they got to pay you market value for the property. So you're still going to walk away with capital that you can reinvest somewhere else. So I mean. Especially in today's age where everything is digital, Black Wall Street would be more digital than actually physical. But
I do agree with that. That.
But as far as defending it, I mean, Black lawyers, Black politicians, Black judges, Black police chiefs, Black male, should I say, police chiefs, Black male judges, Black men who are conscious of their race and gender in positions of power, and that's the thing that happens over time. And when we start talking about taking our time to really infiltrate, that's just not our forte. But that's what every other race does. They come here and they infiltrate, and on top of other things.
Why do you think most black men are not conscious to do things in the way that you think they should?
Well, the way I think they should do things is to have a black male first mind, have a black male first perspective when dealing with life. But the reason why I don't think they have it is because of society. I mean, nobody in society teaches the black man to look at himself as, as the valuable one. Nobody teaches the black man how valuable he is and how he should capitalize off his own talents instead of giving it to everybody else and letting everybody else take when they give nothing.
Who runs society? Who runs the society who set up that society to train us that way?
Well, society is set up by the people who dominate the industry. So currently, the dominant society is white people in America. Yes.
So, okay, but with that said, right, because that's what I agree with your assessment. But I'm looking at if we're in the same place where they're dominating all the industry and they program us toward this, wouldn't it make sense for us to break away, create a new programming and come back like the other people, like you said, other groups do? They program on their own turf, then they come here with their own mind, and then they carve out their thing. But we're programmed on hostile turf. And then we sit here and wonder why we keep doing the same thing over and over again. Wouldn't it make sense to program somewhere else that we run the society?
Well, the thing about America is that you have a choice. Okay, it's not 1984. It's not Nazi Germany. I mean, the society is programmed to tell the black man not to value himself, but it doesn't mean a black man cannot think highly of himself and gain value out of himself. At some point in time, when you become a grown adult, you can't go rob a bank and say, well, I heard it in a rap video, making that an excuse. I'm talking about from like childhood to growing up, we're taught not to value ourselves. But at some point in time, that line's going to have to be cut off, or we're going to have to be like, okay, I'm the man. This is what I'm worth to myself. Now, as far as what you're saying, as far as the go to another place, I mean, look, that's fine and dandy, but anywhere you go on this earth that's occupied is going to be controlled by another group of people. And America right now offers you more freedom than a lot of these other places. I mean, you can still have your own say, homeschooling. You can still create your own world within America because of the freedom it allows you to have. You know, I think we like to I think we overrate this oppression factor or overrate this so-called hostile factor. When in America, you really can create your own world within a world in America. It's hard to do that in other places where the laws are different. You might not have the same legal protections. I'm not closing my
See, but that's
mind
where I
off to it.
disagree. That's where I disagree because see, if I go to a developing nation, the industries are weaker, right? So when you say that, oh, you can homeschool, right? I can homeschool, but there's billboards, there's products, there's commercials, there's television shows, there's very strong industries with very strong marketing practices that are the reason we think a certain way. Very strong. Like America, they have the strongest advertising, the strongest marketing, and the strongest industries behind those marketing tactics. If I go to another country, these things aren't as strong, so it's a lot easier for me to build what I want for my kids, and for me to influence and take over those industries to create the environment I want. It's easier in a weaker country than it is in a stronger country. That's why I disagree.
Real quick, but the thing about that is that it's easier, yeah, but it's not as much money, not as much people that are going to be able to spend the money to do that, and on top of that, you don't understand this. You don't might not have the same legal protections there to keep your enterprise going. You might get strong arm. I mean, it's a whole different environment as far as it was more area to take over in one of these countries, but you're going to have to be ready to defend it and back it up even more. You better have those resources to back it up even more than you would in America, because you won't have those same protections for business.
Can I ask a question? Who's talking?
My brother Ramil is talking. This is Black Torch.
Oh, okay, yeah, this is Black Torch. Okay,
Hey, welcome to the show, brother.
how you doing? How you doing? I totally disagree with Ramil, because this is the thoughts that kept us where we are today. Okay, he says, "Oh, we can defend the law system. The legal system has been used against us. Look at what they did: gentrification. Look for redlining. What laws? Every time they have come up with a law, they have now made a new law that supersedes that law. We are not stupid. Wait, Ramil, I didn't interrupt you. I did not interrupt you. Please give me that respect. Every time, and am I lying to the panel? Every time black people have come up with a way of doing something, they have come up with a new way. When the soldiers came back from the war, the GI Bill, what did they do? They screwed them out of that. It was written in the law. If you look at redlining, it was written in the law that they would, the farmers, the black farmers, took to almost 2,000 to get any redress from this. I will take my chances somewhere else. This country has showed for 401 years that it will not give us an equal break. And for anybody to sit up here and tell me we got protections under the law, I can give you thousands of cases, tens of thousands of cases that is never happened in America. Never.
You want to respond, Ramil?
Yeah, let me respond to this crazy side. It's crazy. We in the
see. I never wait. Time out. I never called you crazy. I never talked you crazy.
I didn't call you crazy either.
Yes, you did. You said a crazy talk. That's the same thing.
Hey, we ain't gonna have a repeat of the same shit yesterday on last time. Now, I had fun having that education versus culture argument, and that's something I'm gonna revisit on my channel one day, if soon. But for real,
but anyway,
so I'll let y'all finish it. I wanted to throw something in here too.
Yeah, go ahead, Ramil. Go ahead.
Just real quick, man. Gentrification has nothing to do with the law. Okay, gentrification is when property owners lose control of their property because they don't pay the property taxes, or they're not keeping up with the property, or they have they're sanctioned with the city, and then somebody with more money comes in and takes advantage of that opportunity. Okay, gentrification happens because black people do not take care of our properties. Okay, that's just the bottom line. That's why you have the hoods. All right, we don't take care of our property. Second of all, redlining is the result of when they gave out those quote unquote predatory loans, which you did not have to sign. But us as black people, instead of saving money up to buy houses, we decided to take the shortcut and let these white folks give you this predatory loan with this crazy interest rate, and then when you can't pay it, though you're gonna call it redlining when they won't give you any more loans when they kick you out. It's crazy to me. Second
Okay.
and third, last thing. As far as this equality, there's no place in the world you're gonna go. Equality is not a equality is a privilege. All right. So in America, it's gonna be as equal as you can get across this world for the most part. Especially if you have a social security card. Are you guys looking for utopia? Yeah, you guys act like you in America. You waking up, you got to worry about danger every day. No, you don't. This is the richest country in the world. Hella opportunities here, and I'm not against traveling if you want to do that. But my thing is that when guys act like America, you're here now. You know what I'm saying? People act like America is not the place to be if you want to start off successful from the fastest way. You guys, if you want to do the international thing, why are you guys still here? That's what I'm saying.
Hey,
May I respond?
To build up capital.
Wait.
Hold on. I want Edward to respond to that because he's kind of in the middle here. Go ahead, Edward.
My thing, I kind of, agree with a lot of Ramil said. What I'll add on to that is this. Shout out to Dynas, search for Huru. He's in Algeria. Apparently he's a prince or some shit, but he's got his citizenship. He did it. He made his money in America in sales and basically said, fuck this shit. And fuck these white women, fuck this shit, and took his ass home. And he promotes that. The difference is he's over there talking that.
He lives in Atlanta. He lives in Atlanta
still, but at the end of the day, he's a lot more further along than what folks are. He actually does what I'm talking about, which is split the difference, which is get global. The problem with black men is we're having these like intellectual arguments about what black men should do. The reality is, if for dudes that want to travel and want to promote that mindset, you're going to have to show your work. You're going to have to show it. Black men are going to have to see with their eyes, not get on stuff talking about it. Otherwise, they're going to by definition default to Ramil shit because this is what they know. And at the end of the day, they see immigrants fighting to keep their ass here, not go back. And if you talk to people, Ramil knows Preem, shout out to Preem. You talk to Preem is Liberian. And if you talk to Preem about going to Liberia or going back to Africa, that dude has a psychotic episode to not do that. So my point is that I promise you that my point is we're having debates about what y'all are going to do. Nobody's telling you not to go overseas and do what you need to do. But at the same time, folks, it's like folks are trying to convince somebody to validate what you're talking about. If you want to do it, then do it. But I personally think black people need to just be more global in general, because you all are thinking as if you go overseas, that solves a lot of problems mentally that black men need to solve. And it really doesn't. Liberia is actually proof of that, because once that civil war broke out, we did not hold Liberia like we should have. Black people got removed from there as far as African Americans. So if we can't hold that, when we built that shit up, I need to understand how, if something like that happened again, what we would do. Because we haven't demonstrated that we could do that yet. Okay. Yes, I am done now.
All right. Now, I will answer your question. First of all, there are 54 countries in Africa. I never said anything about going to Liberia. So that's the first thing.
An example.
Wait. I'm just giving, I can only respond to what you said, right? I can't respond to something you didn't say. I'm only telling you that's only one example. I never said anything about going to Africa. I said we can go to South America or some other place. There's black people, like I said in the other live stream, that went to Japan. There's other places to go. Second of all, let me go back to Ramil, because first of all, redlining is not just predatory loan. It's the U.S. government policy, not just on predatory loans, say that you will not. The government is mandated to banks, and you can look it up. The mandated to banks that you shall not give loans to black people. And as far as the other thing you said, gentrification, I never mentioned gentrification. I said redlining because that was a policy of the federal government. So bringing gentrification in was a red herring, because I never mentioned that.
You did mention that.
I did not mention we can play the tape back.
Let's play it right now.
Wait. We can play it back, and I never said anything about gentrification. I said redlining because that was that, and I said the thing about the VA benefits was a fact. When the soldiers came back from the wars, they were denied those. That I live in New York. We have a whole town called Levittown, New York, which was given, and they said that you shall not give any black people any loans. So I'm trying to figure out. You're saying that here is the best place for us to be because the United States we got all these benefits that we're not able to get. The only time, and I've been to Africa, I've been to South America. I speak Portuguese, I speak Spanish, I speak a little Arab and Swahili. I've been to all these
Damn.
places, and I've been to Japan, and I've been to the Philippines. But brother, I I can ask one. Let me ask you one question. Have you been outside of America? Have you been to Africa? That's my question to you, Ramil.
I've been outside the country.
That's not what I asked you. I said, have you been to Africa?
No, I haven't been to Africa.
Okay,
Where do you
so
live right now?
wait, no, that's you just answered the question. I'm not gonna beat you up on that. I'm just making. Have
I mean,
you
you
been
can't
to
beat me
Brazil?
up on it.
I'm just making a point. Have you been to Brazil or South America?
Yes, I've been to Sao Paulo.
Okay, Sao Paulo. Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. So I'm just trying to tell you, your worldview changes when you get out of what it is. We've been stuck in this box, and I'm trying to say that we need to get out of the box. Even if you don't decide, it does, like I said on the last stream with Black Men Travel, the last stream. I said, listen, we can make a thing of saying we have a group here, a control group here, that you rebuild your Wall Street here. And I'll take another group and I rebuild there. And we'll see who is more successful. And that's what
Okay,
I want to see.
okay,
And I'm
go do
done.
that.
Yeah, that's
I
what I
mean, the
want to
thing
do.
about it is nobody. But here's the thing that it comes back down
I'm
to,
not going after you,
you're not. Hold
Edward.
on, you are not going to convince black people overwhelmingly rejected leaving the United States a long time ago, and black people are probably more entrenched in that mindset than they were back then. Here's the truth. The truth is, the majority of black men in the United States are gynocratic. Fuck white men oppressing you. Your fucking women own you. That's real fucking talk. And
What?
a lot of black men are cool with that setup. So understand that when we're talking about black men, you are start talking about at max about 10 to maybe 15% of black men that will even hear this conversation. Everybody else is just gonna shut your ass down. I had to deal with motherfuckers saying that people had to go overseas, wanted to go overseas because they were pedophiles. This is the bullshit I had
I
to deal
remember
with
that
on
argument.
YouTube. The
I
point
remember
is
that argument.
that should tell you who the fuck we're dealing with. So when
Exactly.
we
But
when we
I
have
don't
this
need, I
argument,
don't need, wait. I don't need, see, that's the point. I'm not going
but
to get everybody. I just need, I'll take 5%. If I got 5% of the
Exactly.
people that want to go, I'm happy with 5% because you
but
know
what
why?
I'm but
Because
but what
five,
I'm
okay, go ahead, Edwin. I'll let you shut up.
what I'm telling you is the thing that I do not see enough of to even get to that 5%, because you're not going to start off with that, because only 6% of black men have passports, and the vast majority of black men are not trying to fucking live overseas.
Damn,
You,
Edward, you just
it,
told
it's
the numbers, man. You sure 6%? That's it.
Yes, 20% of Americans have passports. And then
Mm.
when you remove military black men who have it because they're in the military, and you remove black immigrants or first or second generation, and you peel all that shit back, then yes, you get to that number. And by the way, black women have more passports than black men,
Oh, that's for
slightly,
sure.
just like how
Now
we're
that's
Well,
slightly
but
married.
yeah, that's
let's
for sure.
open that up just a little bit though, because just if you believe in the concept of building Africa and divesting from America, you don't have to leave America to follow those principles, because you could support me from here. You could support the people who leave from America. So we don't need everyone to leave either. Let's keep that in mind.
Well, yeah,
And
but we can't say that because people, because that's now where Ramil would be able to be having a conversation with. But see, the problem is people don't want to split that difference.
no,
They want to
that's
call
not the
motherfuckers
issue.
Captain Americas and shit.
That's not the issue. That's what I'm
It
trying
is
to
a
say.
bunch of
Why,
Captain Black Americans.
the issue is why when black people talk about leaving this thing, we got so much pushback. That's the real issue. If the
Nobody's
people want to
pushing
wait,
back against
not
People are
you,
pushing back
not
heavy.
you, Edward, not you. Calm down, Edward. You stated on many elegant occasions your view, and which I have no problem with. But if you talk to other people, they tell you like, "Yo, why you want to leave here? This is the best country in the world. You're gonna burn your passport." I tell them again, who never said that? All I'm saying is that if you're going to build something, I don't want to build something and somebody who says they can go willy nilly come in there, use as Ramil says, what is it, eminent domain or some legal trickery, what they do like they did to the black people in Hilton Head, where they took their homes by raising the property taxes on them, and like they were trying to do to the black people in those islands off of North Carolina, they're trying to do now. This is the legal trickery they do
Talking about
all the time.
the Gullah
What kind of
Yeah,
what kind of law legal system you think you think the government like?
I never said Africa. That's my
I didn't say
point.
Africa either, bro. I'm just saying wherever
I
you go.
can tell you like this: there's places in South America. Once I own the land, it's mine. I can tell you that for a fact. Once I own the land, it's mine. I don't have to worry about a government coming in there and say, "Oh, you got to pay this much property tax, and if you don't pay this property tax, we own your land." That is
Okay,
you
so
don't
first of
own
all,
the.
that's not true at
I'm
all.
making a point, but that's what. Excuse me. Do you know that? Am I lying? Look at the. Go to
You
Hilton
think
Head.
property taxes
Look at
are
it.
only
Look
in
at
the
it.
United
Look at the
States?
Hilton. Wait. Look at Hilton Head and look at how Hilton Head was a black area and now it's all white. Look at it.
Okay,
Look at the
so
history of Hilton Head
okay, so
and tell me that I'm wrong.
what I'm
They
saying
put
is that you don't think
Black
property
Widows on fire
taxes.
too.
You don't think that in other countries that you don't think they got property taxes, or you
No,
don't
they
think they got.
don't. That's the thing. That's why I asked you the question. Have you been outside
Yes,
of
I
America?
have. That's why I
Well,
know.
if you know in those other countries, they don't use the subsidies of property taxes like we do here.
I know,
Yeah,
but
It's
that
a
is
there's
that
still
different.
is
Can
property.
I,
But there's
that,
still
okay,
no, that is true,
I'm
Ramil, though. That they
because
don't
you're
have
not going to let
you
me
only pay
speak.
property tax one time overseas most of the time. And most
that's
Yeah,
what I'm saying.
that's
But
what I'm trying to
there's
tell
still.
him.
That's
He's
what I'm
not
saying. There's
listening to
still.
me.
I know, but I'm saying there's still taxes. You said they don't
No,
exist. I'm
but
saying
the property taxes, they use property taxes as a weapon against. I give an example. In New York City, I live in New York City now, right? When in New York City, Bloomberg came in and used a tactic where if you don't pay your water bill, they can take your house. This is crazy. Okay, not your property tax, your water bill. So they use this to attack black, especially older black people, to take their property from them. It's not until we got a new mayor in De Blasio that he removed this. They had all these different tactics they would use. If you didn't fix the sidewalk in front of your house, they could take your house from you. That's it. And they knew that older black people that they were targeting with these things because they didn't have the wherewithal to know that they can do that. That's all I'm saying. You,
man,
you, you. This
you
is a
bring you bring
fact.
you
I
bring
can
up
send
all.
you all the. I can send you because you know what? I deal in facts. I can send you every one of them.
It's like y'all want to always point out like, okay, somebody. First of all, I never heard no law where if your
Ramil,
sidewalk is
Ramil,
cracked.
Ramil. I got this real quick. Understand something. There's only one law that counts. There's only one law that counts. You go overseas, if I have a fucking gun and you can't defend your shit, I can take your fuck what the government say. And you talk that shit, man, you got these cartels and all these motherfuckers over here and you a foreigner. I don't give a fuck about your citizenship. Cause they don't give a fuck about that. The reality, and it's you
Wait,
basically
wait,
going
wait,
to a
wait, wait,
Let me
wait,
let
wait,
situation.
me
wait,
let
wait,
me
Hold
ask
on,
you this.
wait,
hold
wait,
on.
wait,
You
wait, wait,
hold
wait.
on.
You
You are
want to
going into
cartel on me? I
stop
just want to
cutting
say,
me out.
no,
Hold
no.
on,
You
I
are
hold,
just
going
hold,
into
hold
a
on,
situation.
fellas. Hold
Hold
on, hold
on.
on.
I'm
Let
not
Edward see what he
finished.
got to say.
You
Black
are
Torch.
going into a situation just like in the fucking Jim Crow. You're going into the Wild Wild West too. So you act like you got all these protections, like that shit is guaranteed. It doesn't matter where you are. Africans thought they could take their ass to China and be okay, and look at them. It doesn't fucking matter where you are. The reality of the situation is there is no utopia. If you cannot protect your shit, that is just some false belief system you got. Now I get New York. New York has fuckery. I live in North Carolina. But this idea that other countries don't have their own fuckery, like in Africa, they got lease options. In Africa, you got to pay that shit cash, damn near, because they don't do loans. So everywhere has their caveats. Don't try to act like
It's no problem
you
with
go, you pick a place, but don't act like you can actually rest your head and everybody else does everything from on some moral high ground.
Look,
These
if the
governments can take
Italians,
whatever the fuck they want to take.
the
Go
Italian
ahead.
native Italians came from Italy and came over here to America and set up the mob. You're talking about people is overseas with guns. You don't think I'm gonna forget how to use guns because I moved to another country? If they could do it, I could do it. I got a chance just because they got people with guns.
I mean,
I
you
got
gotta
money.
have
I could get
numbers to
people.
do that too.
No,
And
no, you
and
don't.
all we're talking and what we're talking. See, we're having the same age old debate. Understand something? If you all folks need to be focused on who the fuck wants to go. If people are giving pushback, don't even have a conversation with them. Hell, why are you even talking to them about going overseas?
Well, no,
I
because
agree.
this the way it works.
Okay, I'm totally agree with that. But let me get back to your thing about the cartels. You're talking about the cartels. Are you talking about Colombia and Mexico
That's
cartels?
one example. So you're
No.
saying that crime doesn't
Just
exist
Edward,
anywhere.
if
Hold
you
on,
bring
Edward,
something,
let him
if
finish
you
real quick,
bring
Edward.
something up, you got to let somebody respond. You said cartels. I got to say, I know of no cartels. There's black people in Japan. There's black people in Singapore. There's black people all over the continent who don't go through those cartels. So that's a red herring. That's off the bat right there. You can go to Rwanda. They got no cartels. So I'm trying to tell you, you cannot bring that. That's a specious argument. You cannot do that. I did not do that because I can do the same thing about America with the
You
bullshit we
have
go
been
through.
doing that.
No, I'm going facts. And with 401 years of facts, that doesn't count.
All right, man.
Okay, so where do you live right now, bro?
I live in New York.
Okay, so why are you still why are you not building outside the country?
Oh, I am. That's why I told you. I've been to Africa.
I'm saying,
I've been
well,
to.
why are you
You
living
don't
in
know what
America though?
I'm doing because
401 years of oppression.
Oh, am I Gilgamesh that I can live forever? I only have a certain amount of time on this planet. I'm just like this, but just like you, and just like I was going to school to finish up my degree, and then I'm leaving. Is that an answer for you?
Well, if you're so
That's what I'm
hardcore about
doing.
if you saying that black men need to be building overseas, this is like these
No,
married
I said
dudes.
the question was, can we build a Black Wall Street? And it said, can we build it in America and outside? And I said one thing. Can we? I said, I don't believe that we can build it here because of past performance. If you are stock market people, you said the past performance is not the indicative of what the
Past
future
performance of who?
performance will be. But I'm telling you here, after 401 years, with all these examples of Columbia, Tennessee, and all these other places, you got to be.
So what
It
about all
doesn't
the
make any
examples
Okay,
of
sense.
black
man.
success? What
Oh,
about all the
hold
examples
on.
of black success in
Yeah,
the
I
country?
mean,
Do we ignore that of all the black people who made very extremely wealthy amounts of money? Like I don't understand. Like you
Okay,
just pointing out the
name,
bad stuff.
name, and name. Okay, okay. Let's talk about that. The success.
Like whose fault is
Wait,
it
wait,
that we're
wait.
not winning?
You just mentioned it, so I'm saying let's talk about that.
All right.
Okay, Ramil? What do you consider success in America?
Okay. Property ownership, having assets, being liquid, having a form, having power over your life.
We don't have power over our life in as a black person in America. That was
How do you not
shown
have power over your
8 minutes and 46 seconds that any
Are you
dude can.
fucking
I'm
serious?
just telling you, we don't
Y'all let the
because
media condition you
because
niggas.
Robert Smith, who's a billionaire, 5 billion, he got 5 billion plus. uh, uh, he told when the police pull him over, he's of the same thing as any other black
Okay,
man,
hey, you said facts, right? Let's talk about some
Bob
facts.
Johnson, who was denied going into a hotel in
dude.
Miami.
Okay, let's talk about facts. You talking about people going in the hotel? Let's talk about
I'm
facts.
telling
Police
you about
made. I got
billionaires
you.
who make facts,
Let's
Dude,
talk
brother.
facts. I
dude.
got you. So look, there was over
I'm done, man.
53 million. There was
I'm
53 million police interactions last year. Okay, out of that, 1,000 people got shot and killed. So that's 0.00001 murder rate from the police. All right, even less of that is black people. Police ain't killing us like that, but they show you some on the media. Y'all niggas up in the frenzy when the real killers, we know who really killing niggas. All right, so you got hella power. You got the power to do a lot of things here if you play the game, but black men want everything to come easy to them. You want to cry and complain? This white man ain't even got his foot on your neck like that. You can start
Really?
an LLC. You can start a website. You can
Really?
buy
Really?
Dog,
You
you
don't
talking
know
to
what
the
you're
wrong
talking about.
property.
motherfucker.
You
can buy
talking to
property.
no. You said something that you don't know what you're talking about, because I live in New York where we had over 2 million stops and all that, where they were grabbing black people, grabbing and putting them against the wall and doing stop and frisk, where they did over 5 million stop and frisk.
She brought up the 8 minute 46 seconds, man.
You're
So that's
making a
police
point.
killings.
You're making
Now
a
you're
point
switching
in
it to
one
police
city.
harassment. Now you're switching it to
I'm making a
police
point
harassment.
in one city. Okay, I can go Boston, where there was a killer, where the white man killed his wife, and they went door to door kicking
You know what?
down black people's houses.
That guy, dude, who kills the most black people in this country?
And who kills the most white
That's a
people in this
deflection.
country?
I'm
White
just saying.
people.
Okay,
You're
but
bringing this
This
specious
is-
argument,
black crimes, proximity crimes are 8 times higher than whites.
but it doesn't matter who
That does
kills
matter.
more white
It
people.
matters
White
for
people.
it matters for
No,
52%.
no,
It
because
matters
you're
for
bringing
half
the
of the
same
murders.
argument. You sound.
No,
I'm
Can we-
sorry.
can we-
There's no self accountability. No
I'm
self
done
accountability.
because when I
There's no
prove when you said
self-accountability.
proximity, if you're living in a black neighborhood, of course those are the people
But it
who's going to
happens
do it.
8 times
If
higher,
you're
though.
doing a white
It
neighborhood,
happens 8 times higher. That's
it
the
doesn't
problem.
matter.
That's the
What
problem.
does it matter?
It
It
matters
matters
why.
because it's proximity.
hold on, Black Toys. Go ahead, remember. Get your thoughts out.
Okay, what I'm saying is that proximity crimes, yes, if you're gonna be more than likely be murdered by the person who lives close to you, but the proximity crimes in black neighborhoods is 8 times higher than the proximity crimes of other neighborhoods. That's insane. That's the problem. If Blacks' lives matter,
That's mostly because black people don't have any businesses.
you can make
money.
which is also a choice. Which is also a
Hold on,
fucking
hold
choice.
on. I want Ramil.
You can say it's because of the lack of whatever. The fact is that it's happening, and that's a problem. If Black lives really matter, and 90% of Black lives are taken by Black people, all this energy should be going to the 90%, not the 0.401%. All right, so that's
no, I disagree with that.
Hold on.
One more thing.
We're getting so past.
I want Foster to jump in. He hasn't jumped in a second. What would you say to that, bro?
What I was gonna say is that that's true, because I'm not one of those people who say black on black crime is not an issue. Yes, it is, bro. When you're killing that much more, that is an issue. But that's a deflection away from the original point. We were talking about a power. We were talking about a power dynamic. So if you can just kill black people and there's no recourse, you don't have to worry about the consequences. The volume is not the issue. So don't tell me about, oh, well, there's only this many killings. You're deflecting away from the point. The point is that you're just getting away with the killing and nothing is happening. That exposes your power. That exposes that you have no power. And it's not just with killings. This is the issue in all different type of facets of society. So don't tell me about the numbers. Tell me about the issue.
So if this issue stopping black men from becoming successful, which is the original argument, it's police brutality and police harassment.
That's not what the original argument was. Stop changing. No, it's not.
Can black men build a Black Wall Street? So
no, and the Black Wall Street has nothing. Wait, time out. See, you're mixing the things again.
You're doing deflection. Where it is.
You're doing deflection.
Wait.
Ramil. Okay, let me ask you one more question. What?
But you won't answer mine.
Okay. What?
But you won't answer mine. It's police brutality stopping black men from building Black Wall Street in America.
Now?
No, it's not.
Okay, I agree with that.
It's not a big issue.
No, it is an issue, but it's not a big issue. It's not because you can't say it's like it's not until you build something until white people get jealous that they do something, and that's what happened
first. Hold on. I wanna say something. This is where black men get delusional. If a white man, America can let me say this, be very clear. America can touch your shit no matter where the fuck you put it in the world. You really think if you go to Latin America, as much as America has their tentacles in Latin America, Brazil, all these countries, there is no place you can really go that you're not gonna have to submit to another power, by the way, that has the ability to keep the CIA from getting in your ass if you get powerful enough and they decide to fucking do so. You really believe that being in the country, this is the thing to do. Like, you really like, when is the laws, the CIA is designed to not deal with laws. You really believe that they sent the fucking Zetas in there, in fucking Mexico. They don't give a fuck. So you really believe if you go to another country that that's gonna mean some shit as far as building the Black Wall Street? What is my point? My point is black men do not want to solve the issues that keep them from building. They think they could go somewhere else and the shit's gonna be like magic. Number one, you're gonna deal with an issue with whoever you're dealing with on the ground. This is where when Ramil, as much as Ramil, you got on my nerves about that goddamn argument about black men chasing women overseas and then other dudes want to fuck or are gonna start to fuck with us because of that. This is where now if you establish a foothold somewhere, now that's where that potentially becomes a problem. Then you got America that if they decide they don't want your ass to do shit, they can start fucking with you or use that country to fuck with you. That's my point. And I don't hear any of this conversation, any solutions to any of that shit. Just
Okay,
basically saying America's bad, so I'm leaving. Go ahead.
Okay, no, I'm. Listen, Edward. Let's think logical about this whole thing. Of course, if the America, as the strongest superpower in the world, if they wanted to, yeah, they can come and get you. But let me ask you something: is it arbitrarily different? That's a coordinated plan versus what happened in Tulsa, what happened in n- uh, Wilmington, North Carolina, Columbia, Tennessee, Rosewood, Florida, where white people just got out of their just because the black people were more successful than they were, they decided that they were going to burn and loot and destroy. This you're talking about a government agency now coming in compared to capricious of notions of a mob, which is a totally different thing. And
No, it's not.
oh really? Are you
First of
saying
all,
that?
the CIA has demonstrated that they can. Number one, it's not just the FBI is just local, but they do it all the time. The CIA, as far as domestic, the CIA has demonstrated they will do the shit for smaller shit. And also, this is why I brought up Liberia because Liberia was a perfect example of what happens when you do remove that, and it's also an example of when the CIA starts fucking with shit. So the reality, it hits both of my
Wait.
points on the
I
so
agree
my
with you that
point is
Liberia was a
that shit
colony.
can happen anywhere. That shit can
No,
happen
no, no.
anywhere.
I agree with most of what you said, but the problem is I don't agree that it because you keep bringing up Liberia, which is that's fine with me because Liberia was a colony. I actually put it a thing in the chat that proved it was a colony. It petitioned for independence from the United States. If you were not a colony, you would not be petitioning for independence from the actual country. So that's the first thing. Whoever told you it wasn't a colony was wrong.
Hold on. It
It
depended. A petition for independence from the United States or from the
Yeah,
ACS
yeah. I
or
put
from
in
the ACS that
in
funded it.
1847, the ATS was a part of the in 1840 Liberia. Liberia declared independence from the American colonial society and established a sovereign state. That was when
Okay,
Liberia
but the
was formed
American
as a
Colonial
country.
Society,
But the Liberian,
the
let me
ACS
finish.
is
The
not America.
ACS, no, the ACS bought that land. They paid those African
That's an entity.
tribes for the land. Okay, and you can't wait. You can't establish. You know how you establish a country when you say, "Okay, I have the land." Malcolm said it best. You can't have any kind of independence until you control the land that you on.
Mhm.
So
Okay, but what I'm
that's what
saying is
they did in 1847.
The ACS is not America. Just like the Royal Niger Company that basically got control of the land in Nigeria, north and southern Nigeria, they got control of it, and then in 1915 they sold that land to Britain. You
Okay,
don't have to be a country. You can be a private entity, and then you can take control of an area, then sell that area.
but
So
that
the
that
ACS
control.
is not America. You can't be an
Wait.
American
No, no.
colony
Wait, it
if
was
there's a
called gunboat diplomacy. They were back, and you got to understand, all these corporations, what you call, were not independent. They had backing by military. If you look at the
Yeah,
East Indian country
yeah, like how China
company,
does it.
they had backing by the military. This not what you think. They had backing by the U.S. military. And that's why they had to declare independence, and that's why up to today, Liberians can still get citizenship in America, because of that kind of that past relationship. So
America didn't even recognize, they didn't even recognize Liberia until like I think the 1860s or something like that.
yeah,
1870s.
1868.
How could
But
they have been a colony if they didn't recognize them until
listen,
after they declared independence?
because what happened in 1868 in America?
1868, nothing. You mean 1865 with the 13th Amendment?
Yeah.
Yeah, 1865, the
Yeah,
13th Amendment
and
was
that's
passed.
what I'm saying. It's not until after slavery was abolished. How can you recognize somebody and you still enslaving people and you still sending people over there?
Well, I mean,
I
this
don't know. We're
the
going too
Wait.
problem.
far off
I'm
into
answering the
Liberia.
question, Edward. Let him answer the question.
Oh,
I mean, you know my stance. I don't. You
Right.
already know my
yeah,
I'm
because
stance.
this
I'm
just
not.
doesn't. You know,
okay, Edward.
We're not really going anywhere.
yeah,
Yeah,
this
but
doesn't.
I'm
That's
just
why I let it go.
Let
This
him
is
talk
why
for a
I
second.
let it go because it
no.
doesn't
I'm
matter.
just I'm just making a point. I'm just making a point. The world is not a black and white thing. We all know that. There's strange things that happen. We know that America had colonies, even though it tries to say it did not. But what the fuck is Puerto Rico? What the fuck is Guam and America Samoa and all these other America
Philippines.
Micronesia and the Philippines? It did so, and that's why. And Philippines is a perfect example of American colonies which they gave up. So I don't know. Oh, maybe because they didn't teach the. But I was stationed in the Philippines. I was there. I seen the shit in the Philippines. And in fact, a matter of fact, we're going back to the Philippines this year. The Subic Bay is back in the Philippines.
Yeah, I've been to Super Bay. Yeah, I mean, the thing about it though is my point of even bringing that up is not to prove one thing or the other. Is to get to the point that black men think that it's just a matter of leaving and then not, doing the mental work that's necessary to know how to actually create community build. And black men have not demonstrated they can do that. I'm telling you because they're gynocratic, and then they haven't really exercised those psychological chains that is binding them. Now you can go
But see,
somewhere. Now we're not talking about individuals. You want to talk about individuals? That's a different thing. You want to talk about small groups? Let's say under under 3,000. Okay, that's another thing. But if you're talking about like groups like 50, 30, 40, 50 higher groups, that shit is gonna come up. It
but no,
just
but
is.
this is where we disconnecting though. So what you're saying is us leaving does not change the mentality, which is the issue. All our problems are mentality based. I think most of us would agree. So us leaving doesn't change that, right? But where you're losing me is, I'm saying go further than us leaving. We have to leave to establish the mindset and have the
What?
control to establish the mindset, because people are being turned into gynocrats. Which we're not in a gynocracy. We're not in a matriarchy. We're in a pseudo matriarchy, because the matriarchy was set up and enforced by the white man who truly is the dominator of us, right? We have to get separation from that so we can create our own mindset. That's the whole point of leaving.
I know what I'm. But
Good
see,
point,
this
brother.
is
That's a
where
good
it
point.
comes back to what Ramil was talking about, where a lot of dudes could do that on their own. So, and you see it with the Pan Africanists and how they talk, which they operate in a gynocracy, even though they supposed to be woke. You see that every. So my thing is this:
I
I'm
don't.
not
I'm
telling
a Pan
nobody. I'm not
Africanist, and
telling.
I definitely
I,
don't
I,
think like that.
well, I can tell you right now, the majority do. They look for
I
their
agree. I
women to
agree.
lead.
I agree.
So
A lot of
yeah.
people are,
So
they're on the wrong thing. But go ahead, bro.
So what I'm saying is, if y'all want to go over there, this is where I think about dudes for folks who want to set shit up overseas. Y'all need to figure out who y'all want to and get folks to get on that same page, and then folks will help you get on that same page. Y'all go over there, y'all establish whatever y'all need to establish, and then if there's money in there, obviously there's folks waiting here to invest in that. Y'all get the cut because y'all obviously on the ground, and that's how y'all should look. Not folks are gonna fall into two categories: either they want to leave, they don't want to leave. The more y'all establish, the more folks might want to leave. But at the same time, even the folks that don't want to leave, if they got money, there's still money, because you also got the third category, which is folks that may stay in America, but they're going to think global. Now, if we're having an argument about do black men need to think global, then you're going to have a lot more black men on your side. And then if you want to have an offshoot of black men to actually want to expatriate somewhere, then you can do that. I don't Ramil. I ain't trying to speak for Ramil. He can speak for himself, but I don't think Ramil has an issue with black men actually thinking on a global scale. Do you?
No, not at all. No.
Exactly.
Okay,
Well, no,
So
but
may I
in the
mention one
process of
thing?
doing
May I
it,
mention
oh,
one
go
thing?
ahead, sister.
May I mention one thing, Edward? You keep bringing up uh, gynocentric. Gynocentric and matriarchy is because you're thinking that I'm gonna build with the women here. I'm not building with any of those women here. That's a non-starter. I'm building with women who understand what patriarchy is. I'm not building with
well, I'm
any.
talking no, no, no. I'm talking
I'm just
only about the
making.
black men.
Yeah,
I'm only talking about black men.
but
I'm not talking about the women. I'm talking about the mindset the black men are on. Go ahead.
well, I can tell you something. If a black male is thinking about leaving here and not building with any Western black woman, he's already on that path to freedom, because he's thinking I can't build with a woman here, and he's thinking of that freedom path. That's all I'm saying.
You got any response to that, Ramil? I know you ain't saying that in a minute.
No, I mean, like I said, I don't have an issue with black men thinking globally at all. I mean, I think we do need liaisons. I just think that I think there's a limit though. When we start saying that black men should go overseas because you can have a better opportunity to build something than you can in America, I think uh, I think you can send a lot of black men off. Like Edward said, you're gonna have to go somewhere and start from scratch. You think you have it hard in America to build something, going to another land with new laws, new everything, and you start from scratch. You got a grease palm. I think that should be talked about too. It shouldn't
Yeah.
just be like if you're gonna go overseas, it's gonna be happy Maryland. No, it's easier and better to do it in America. But if you up for the challenge, then go overseas and take the challenge, take the risk. You know what I'm
I'm
saying? Let
I'm
me
Ramil,
I'm
I
know.
up
will
to take
now.
I'm up to take the
Hold on,
challenge.
Ramil. I will say now, in towns like Sasua, man, you got a lot of brothers out there that's owning businesses out there, man. Like million dollar businesses, $1 million resorts, hotels, all types of stuff. You might not know they're being owned by brothers, but you got some brothers. I mean, I've seen it with my own two eyes.
Well, I mean,
So
ain't
it
nothing
is.
Yeah,
wrong.
for them to
I
build that,
mean, ain't nothing wrong.
but I'm talking about like
Go
for
ahead.
them, like as far as them building it up, ask them how hard of a challenge it was to build. I'm not saying, and there's always already a network there, so I'm not denying that. But I'm saying if you want to go to a lot of these other places where black men are not heavily ingrained into the economics, the economy over there, that's going to be a challenge. That's not going to be That's not going to be easier than America to build something. That's going
I
to
mean,
be a challenge.
think how hard it was, and what it took for the Jews, and what it still takes for Israel. And look, I don't care what anybody lands on Israel. I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about the fact of what it took for it to exist, what it takes to hold it. Without America and them having nukes, they would not still have it. That's just real talk. So what I'm saying is we need to look. There's other, like for instance, Lebanese. You know, you have Indians outside of just the home front of India. You have other groups that are very good at basically breaking off into different countries and building imprints in those different countries so they're not concentrated in one place. The problem with that is black men got to issue, having mixed kids, and then that dilutes it, and that's a problem that will have to be dealt with. But outside of that, that is where black men really need to go. So this is where, okay, then South America becomes more viable, Africa becomes more viable, because you want folks are actually going to go into places where that won't be as much of an issue. That's what we need to be. So think about it. Indians control about 42 to 43% of the motel industry in the United States of America. And they use that. The reason why they control that is because it's easy. It's not easy to control, but it was a market that was kind of open for them to take, but also because it allows them to move money in and out of the country relatively easy through commercial real estate. So black men are going to have to start thinking about that. And this idea that there is no part of that where America, the economic system in America plays no role in that, I just don't see. Now, if folks want to go over there and they want to get away from America, absolutely. But there's always the power base is always for the next 50 years is going to be in the United States, because there's always going to be more black people with money here than it is black people with money anywhere else. I mean, that's just fact. So when you talk about DR, those dudes, they have networks of folks in the United States, usually black, that they can go to for money and for investment. They can do that.
when you talk about business overseas, like to Ramil's point and Ed's point, when you talk to people, I just got off with some phone with somebody today talking about land in Nigeria. The biggest issue that they have is access to capital. Now, the reason we think we're so much better than the black people overseas is that we have access to capital. So you
Yes.
can use credit until you get up, and then you could, or you could just continue to use credit. The other systems don't have that. Like someone said earlier, you have to spend cash, right?
Like
If you
85%.
yeah, well, like sometimes you got to spend all cash because you're not going to
Yeah,
get
so when
that
they say
loan.
something's $30,000, then they
That's
mean
what you're saying.
you give it. Yeah.
That's what you're saying, and you know what I'm saying. So the point is, you got access to capital is the main thing that you have here. You know what I mean? But aside from that, I mean, business is hard in America. I'm building a business right now. This is stressful as hell. You know what I'm saying? So business is hard, just period. But the main thing that they have overseas is access to capital. If you're not somewhere that's like a war zone, that's the main thing that people are going to tell you.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on,
Edward.
Edward, hold on. I want to welcome the brother 1247, the great one, to the show. How you doing, brother?
Good, man. What's going on? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you good.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You can hop on. Let Edward finish his thought, and you can hop on with yours, brother.
Well,
go ahead.
And that's what I'm interested in. I'm interested in creating pipelines, like pipelines when it comes to women. I'm talking about as far as what he's done. Y'all want to know? Well, I'm saying that because this gynocracy shit, you give, dude, the greatest power a black man has in America is a power of choice. So if you solve the race mixing issue, or not solve it, or can tamp that down because you're giving them access to black women of other cultures, even these dudes that say they're more likely to come y'all way of thinking anyway. So you got that, not only access to capital, because now you got a lot of dudes that are in tech in all these industries, truck drivers. They're outside of going overseas to vacation. They're not thinking about where to put their money. They're not thinking they need to hold their money because that $30,000, Gambia thing. Shout out to Art Kathy, who's doing a video on like this, whatever property she bought is $30,000, which you get. Now that stuff becomes real. And that's also another thing when we need to start looking at the blue collar black men, because that's the majority of black male wealth is the black men that are getting into tech. Now this gives them something to focus on. Because if we get bogged down on this, should you build a Black Wall Street in America versus in overseas? I think you should do both. Because I'm saying this, I'm done. Because as black men open up other markets and we can bring that money, it doesn't matter. Black people are going to do what black people do. Because if there's money that can be put in America to make money, then people are going to do that. Then that's automatically going to create Black Wall Streets, which makes it harder to fuck with because our money isn't just dependent upon white people here. Which is also something that has never been solved in all the other history of us being in the United States. Everything we've done has been based on what the American economic system that we've never reached outside of that and established things outside of that. Go ahead.
Yeah, my issue, if you got a problem with race mixing or anything like that, just move to a black country, problem solved. It's that simple.
Yeah, I don't have an issue. I don't personally have an issue with that, but I know that's an issue where people always bring it up because me personally, I know if you show black women that act like they got some fucking sense, black men will more times than not choose them. But so there's a market to be made on money on even opening that up when it comes to tourism and investment and stuff like that.
Right. But see, that's a smoke screen. Go ahead, brother. Oh yeah, but I say that's really a smoke screen.
I just don't get that because black women don't operate like that. They
hold before we go down that lane. 1247. Go ahead.
You know what's wrong with that?
No. Okay. You talking about rebuild?
Let's go, brother.
Go ahead. No, you guys are talking about rebuilding Wall Street. So I'm going through a thing right now because I'm about 2 seconds from divorcing this female, anyways. So the thing is, I'm looking at relocating.
Congratulations.
I was going to say salute.
Because it's a wrap. Because like I said, but I'm prior military, so I'm like 90%. I'm about to be 100% disabled. So what I'm about to do is I'm about to take because I'm looking at going to like places like Panama. So I've been looking at places of relocate. I'm getting the hell out of the United States. I ain't gonna lie. So to me, I always wanted my own community. So the thing is, I've been looking at Belize. I've been looking at Panama. I've been looking at Brazil, but I think Panama is might be the spot that I'm heading to next. So, bro, I'm about to really be boots on the ground, building my own stuff. Like I'm not playing. Like I'm about to hit this 100%. I know there's a couple quirks. I've talked to MOT, getting a couple of these contracts with the government, and bro, I'm about to be in Panama killing it. I'm
Just to let you know that if you're prime military, the Subic is opening up, so you might just temporarily switch that over to the Philippines because your buck goes much farther over there than it does in Panama. Panama is 1-to-1. Philippines is 50-to-1.
okay. I mean, something to look forward to. I mean, I'm still doing the research, but as far as rebuilding something, I think because a lot of the older people are heading down to Central and South America that nobody's really talking about. I've been
Oh
looking
yeah.
at videos. Everybody's had people retire here and they head down there. I'm like, well, damn, I don't hear nothing about that with in the black community. Nobody talks about that.
Oh no,
Everybody,
there's a bunch of black people in Panama. There's native black people in Panama.
yeah,
That's not what it is. The issue is that you, the bang for the buck. That's what I'm talking about. You're getting 90% of your pay from from your injury, and and you want to be able to come back and forth. Panama's a perfect spot because you can hit the VA in Miami and do your thing.
yeah, yeah.
And then it's only a 2.5 hour, 3 hour flight from Miami. So I agree, Panama's a perfect. But
Right.
if you
But what I'm saying is, it's a piggyback system because everybody's talking about this kind of one-on-one thing. Because me going to Panama, cool. If when I get done with this, I head down to Panama and I'm doing videos. Hey, I'm telling brothers, hey, fellas, listen, I'm building down here in Panama. Boom, come on down. Because Edward talking about a pipeline system. So to
Mhm.
me, I'm trying to create an actual pipeline system.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm
Well,
saying? I'm
see,
actually in the
my
process.
issue,
Go ahead.
the thing about the difference between countries like Panama, when I hear people say South America, I feel like when we go to black countries, we have the option of spreading Pan Africanism, which connects us. You see what I'm saying? Because most South American countries have the residue of a racial caste system. So, like when you talk South America, you want to talk about blacks doing bad. You don't even hear about black people in South America, with the exception of maybe Brazilians, because they're doing very like that's probably as far as their positions in society. South America is some of the worst places for black people. But if you go to a black country, you can convert those black people into seeing themselves as one. You have a better chance than you do with like some Latinos. That's why I feel like it's better for us to go to black countries.
Well,
Wait,
what
yeah.
is
South
a
America
black
is
country?
almost a black country,
Wait,
though, brother.
because we got to understand. Okay, you go to Colombia. 25% of the country is black. If you go to Brazil, the
Exactly.
majority of the people in Colombia is black. If you go, that's like 53%. You go to Cuba, it's the same thing. So when you say,
But positions of power, though.
yeah, but the positions of power, I agree. But that's what I was talking about. If you're just going by the straight numbers, yeah, those are black countries. But if you're going with positions of power, I agree with you. They have some issues, but they're going through the issues that we went through in when we were doing civil rights. And the positive thing for them is when they take over the whole fucking country because they're the majority. That's the difference. We were never the majority here. We only 13%.
Mm-hmm.
So when you take over the majority and you're 53% of the population, what happens? You take over the fucking country. That's all. Just making a point.
Ramil, you have anything to say to that, brother? No,
I
you've spoken a
mean,
while.
yeah, no, I'm just listening because when it comes to the like I said, I've been out the country only to three places: Canada, Brazil, and to the Caribbean. If you even want to count that. So when it comes to like talk about strictly overseas, that's why I listen so I can learn.
Ramil, I'm gonna take you with me to Africa. How's that? I'm gonna pay
I
for your
mean,
ticket.
look, but
Hey,
I'm
I
not
gotta take
green
Ramil to
as
DR
well.
first, brother.
Go ahead.
Now I was gonna say I got an invite to you for DR, Ramil. So whenever you're ready, brother.
I'm not.
Y'all
I'm
niggas
open
love the
to. I'm
DR,
open.
boy.
I'm
I
open
do,
to
man. I love
definitely
that
do it,
motherfucker.
man. I'm definitely
I'll
open
be
to it.
in Haiti, man. You got to come see me in Haiti, man.
No,
Oh,
this
you
is
over there
what
in
I'm
Haiti?
saying.
Okay, we can do that too.
This is what I'm saying.
It's right there.
If
Damn out.
we all invite each other, then we should see others others others' thoughts. That's all I'm saying. That's why I said I would love to see Ramil go to Africa because he hasn't been there.
Ramil talking about pump and dump, bro. You ain't seen
Oh
pump and dump. You
well.
must be DR,
Hey,
bro.
oh no, yeah. Well, I'm not. I don't know about that. I can't guarantee that because
Well,
yeah.
yeah. Well, ain't nobody pump, but like, and the only reason, even to talk about the pump and dump thing, I mean, the reality of the situation is, as a black man, the one thing you don't want to do, and everybody should agree on this, is you shouldn't do anything that's gonna tie your ass down to the United States. You have a kid, you fucking tied down here. You
Yep.
fucking you get married unless you get divorced, and even if you do, you tied down here. So I mean, this is why it's always older dudes when they get married, they got to get unmarried and alimony and all that bullshit. So pumping and I'm pumping and dumping. People, when people hear that word, it always has a negative connotation. The reality of the situation is these chicks got body counts to where they're on some casual sex shit. Nobody's talking about getting no bright-eyed 21, 19-year-old that don't know shit, that's fully submissive and wants a husband and just basically running her through the coals and damaging her ass. We talk about bitches that already got like 20, 25 body counts anyway. So that's what
More
they
like
already doing.
100.
It's just your
Edward,
turn.
come on. More like
Yep,
100.
thank you. I didn't say it. You said it. So when people talk about pump and dump, they act like they being roped into that. It's called casual sex.
I give an
But
example.
anyway,
There's a whole town in Philippines with just basically retired military people. It's called Angela City, and you go there, and you'll be
Mhm.
surprised. When I was there, I ran into Dennis Rodman's father. There, he has 27 kids
God damn.
in the
well,
Philippines.
there's a mall. Like I've been to Angela City before. You gotta take a
You know
fucking
what I'm
bus.
talking about, Edward. It's
Yeah, and
right
it's a
there.
mall out there. Yeah, I think personally Angela City is overrated, but
No,
it
no,
is
I'm not saying about the city. I'm just trying to say there's
yeah,
black people and there's retired white people that's
yes.
living there and they living their best
Yeah.
lives outside of
Yeah,
America.
Well,
and they will
see,
tell, and they will hold on, and they will tell you about it. Like trust me, I've had conversations with these retired white folks. They act like they are happy with the situation because if they do need to go into the city, it's only like an hour and a half to do so. You know, with a bus, not even with a car, and they use these little go-kart things to get around sometimes. But anyway, go ahead. Yeah.
yeah, no, I
Anyway,
was
go
gonna
ahead.
say, I know, like pump and dump is cool or whatever, you know what I'm saying. But in the end of the day, right, it depends on your worldview and your priorities. You know what I mean? So a person like me, I'm prioritizing black self determination. I don't want to see us in this weak position. So I think what decisions make sense for us collectively. Most people on here are gonna agree. Strong families are the basis of growing any type of strong society. So pump and dump doesn't necessarily lend itself toward that mindset. You know what I mean? So
There's bitches for strong. There's women for strong families, and then there's bitches for fucking. Every
no,
other
that's cool.
country knows.
But
Every other
pump and
race
dump
knows the
people ain't
difference.
teaching that. Pump and dump people ain't necessarily teaching how to get you know
You
Well,
know
what
why?
what pump and dump people are saying. This is what pump and dump people, for the most part, are teaching. Ramil can back this up. Because he talks about economically building as well. What pump and dump dudes are saying is, we know you have a dick. We know you want to fuck. Focus on building and stop wasting your time trying to be desired by a bitch or trying to marry, invest in these chicks that are not interested in family building. And then when you get to the point where you actually want to start a family, actually, Ramil is teaching always pump and dump, but you could always code switch on that. But you
yeah,
can.
no,
Like you can
but
get, hold
that's
on,
what
no,
I'm saying.
you can get 35 and 37 and say, okay, I'm now ready to start a family. But here's the thing. I'm gonna say this and I'm done. It doesn't matter if you are dealing with you deal with a chick with like what 20 body counts. It doesn't matter how the fuck you show up. She is who she is. So you coming in there with some self determination shit. At best, she's gonna say you a lame. At worst, if she wanna fuck, she gonna buy into it and then give you problems later. And then you gonna move on because you gonna realize she ain't a wife anyway. But
Bringing me back to my point.
then she
Yeah,
gonna say you pumped and dumped her, by the way,
yeah,
because
but
women define pump and dump. You could be with them 6 months and then they'll say you pumped and dumped them. I've
yeah,
heard this. Go ahead.
yeah, but Edward, this is my point. I mean, only in America that
Come on,
educated
man.
black men are called lames. That's my point. You go
Right.
outside of this mug. You go outside of this mug. You're not considered lame. You're prime. You're prime. Like I said, I was in I don't know if you know K Town in Germany. You'll know that I was in the military all around the places, and you'll see I mean, there's women lined up just to meet you in Japan. It's the same thing.
Yeah,
But
I was
dudes
there.
got to build
Wait,
their
wait.
economics to leave.
No, in Germany
No,
they got as much money as you. In Japan, I was going out with a
Oh my God.
stewardess. She was making a lot of money. What are you talking about? These women.
What I'm
Wait,
I'm
wait,
talking
wait.
about
wait.
black men.
What about black men?
bro, I was in Japan 6.5
Traveling
years.
is not cheap. Traveling is okay. Let's keep it all the way one. Unless you got a job or a military or economic job, either economics, a job that's getting you over there, or military or skills, which you got to build up. It ain't just with dudes. You just say "fuck it, I'm out," and then they got
I
something
mean, but
waiting
look,
for them.
but
Now
Edward,
people do it all the
if you
time.
gotta no, but bro, if you
All right.
gotta build it up. So what? If
Yeah,
you gotta build it up, and that's why we're trying to put it in people's mind.
and
Because the
that's what
point
And
I'm
of
that's
what
why
I
saying.
was
I'm
trying to
saying
say,
pump and
the
dump.
pump
Edward,
and dump,
Edward, Edward,
the
Edward.
fact that
There's
you
a
have
thing
to
called
pump and dump.
now with technology called you can become a digital nomad because I'm looking about doing that. But I have to finish up my schooling here. As soon as I finish up my schooling, I'm not talking about severing my things with America, but I'm going to a place that has a stable internet connection where I can do my work and also live there outside of this jurisdiction. I'll
Uh,
still
uh,
be working for what you call the American system, but I'll be outside. That's all.
yes, I'm
No,
very much. Shout out to Nomads List. Very good website for digital nomads. I'm very much aware of this. But go ahead. You talk the pump and
yeah,
dump
no,
defense.
yeah. What I was gonna say is, if you gotta pump and dump the women because their mindset is messed up because the institutions in society has brainwashed them against you, that's
Mm,
another argument for leaving the country. That's what I'm trying to
mm.
say. I do believe in pump and dump in America. Ramil has had many streams on why these dudes is trying to wife up these women, and it makes no sense. We argue all the time. Do you hear me argue with you about women? Pretty much never. You know what I'm saying? Because the points you're making in the American context make perfect sense. But when we start talking overseas, now we can build. Now we can do these things. Because when
Exactly.
we look at power, and you look at the most powerful individuals and institutions, they have families and dynasties behind them, not pump and dump people. You feel what I'm saying?
Yes, and all them do, and all them
Here's the
folks
thing.
have
Here's the thing.
concubines. Like
Well,
that's
look,
like this
Oh, hold on.
idea that these dudes. Go ahead,
Oh,
go
I'm
ahead.
gonna
Hold
have
on, Edward.
concubines too.
Ramil, go ahead, respond, Ramil.
no, what I'm saying is that is how it was in the past. Now in future with technology and everything's going to be automated, power and success is going to be determined differently. The reason why I took family in the past, I'm not even against family, contrary to popular belief. But what I'm saying is the reason why I took family in the past is because you needed numbers to survive. You need a family to work the land. You need a family to. But now every day, in today's world, where everything is scaled down because of technology, it's going to be the people with the least. It's going to be people with the least also anchors, the least attachment is going to be the most
Yeah.
powerful in the
Well,
future.
no, it's the maintenance of wealth. It's not necessarily the land. That's like way back in the day. Like Rockefeller didn't necessarily need land, but he needed his family to maintain all the wealth he has. Same with the Waltons. You need to
Well, I
maintain it
mean,
and keep it
even
within the family.
well,
No,
that
because
just
70%
requires you
of
to.
the generational wealth is lost. So I'm saying generational wealth is lost. Most of it's
No, no,
lost.
no. Your generational wealth is lost. The
Yeah,
Rockefellers, all
the
them
Yeah, the
other
small
dudes.
percentage,
Rothschilds,
Yeah, but
of
that ain't
families.
because they. But that
That's
ain't.
the
But
small
that ain't because.
percentage of people.
Yeah, and I hear all that, but the thing is, only thing Rockefeller required was for his kids to follow what the fuck he was saying, and that's because that was a patriarchy to establish, and those women he paid he didn't really pay them off, but they were invested. The difference is that the America creates a situation where that becomes incredibly hard, which is another reason to leave. I get that. So my point is this idea of, well, you need to create strong families to be a great man. No, you just need to be having control of those kids, which is relatively easy to do with these females because overseas, because it's a matter of they're caring about their security. They're not going to do a lot of this. Everything, for the most part, the shit that they do is in service of securing their security. And I mean in a basic way, not like what our women do, where they just mad that you ain't with them, so they just gonna use the legal system against you. So these women are very easily bought up as far as their compliance. So I'm not saying the dudes need to be out here being pookies and ray rays overseas, but dudes have to stop tying like what they do with their dick to like honor and shit. Like dudes are, well, I need to be this great guy and have families, and then it's not required. You just have to know what the fuck you want to do and how to go about doing it. That's all.
No, okay, but no, but it's not about the more. Okay, because like you
Like
said, concubine.
morality.
You can have, but I'm saying you can have concubines. You can also have as many wives as you want. That's your duty as a man. You're a king, bro. You can run your thing however you want. Your women are your property. That's what I believe. You see what I'm saying? So if you want to be there, if I'm based in Nigeria, right, and I want another wife in Namibia, or I want my chicks I got in Haiti and
Well, I
in
don't believe in
Jamaica.
that. I don't believe in
Okay,
having a lot of cars. I believe in leasing.
but what I'm saying is I still can do that, bro. Like I still can do that. I could be based over here. I have a wife, my family, my temple, my everything going on here, but I can still run around and do my thing. That's
But
my
what I'm
right as
telling
a
you,
man.
you're not more moral than I am because I just want to lease these
No,
cars
okay,
and
but
put them back on the
Yeah,
lot.
I mean
That's
no,
what
that's
I'm
just a
saying.
personal preference.
I'm putting a moral part and on as a man taking the responsibility toward building our society. I'm gonna put in the moral points on that.
And
You
I
see what I'm
can
saying?
fuck these bitches and still do that.
No, that's what I just
You
said.
about to
But
get
what
these
I'm saying
motherfuckers
is,
looking at me.
if all you're gonna do is fuck bitches and just not build
Nobody
an
said that.
establishment. No, but what I'm saying is build a family, build things, have children, teach them the right things, bring children to the society that have been raised up, that are your seeds, that are good foundation, that'll help us build in the future. I'm saying you get extra moral points for that. If you're not doing that, I'm taking moral points away. I don't care how many women you get.
Okay,
That's on
I'm
you.
gonna keep it real. I'm gonna keep it real with you. I know, dude. I hate to say, well, fuck this. I don't care. I know I have business mentors that cheat on their wives, and I
I
can tell
don't
you
care about that.
situations. Of what I'm saying, yeah, what I'm saying is they raise all this. They do all this shit that you're doing, and in fact, those women are taken care of. And I'm talking about black men, and so this idea of like morality, I get it. You're either,
We on
as
the
far as
same
I'm
page,
concerned,
bro.
you're either an asset or a liability. But even if you're not building that shit, that isn't necessary. Because you got to remember, there are generational assets, and then there's assets that deal with you in the current form. This is why folks kill me with this. You can't be pro black and sleep white shit, because I'm like, okay, if you got a dude like Don Peebles that not only has a lot of money but has infrastructure, has demonstrated that he hires black men to help build and design his buildings, then just because he's with a white bitch, I get that that company is going to be owned by black people. But as far as the income that's generated with all those people, like that still counts because
Okay,
those folks
I have
are
a
with
question
black
for you.
women and
I have a
having
question
black
for you,
families.
Edwin. If Ed is Peoples marries a white woman, have kids with that white woman, aren't those kids black by
It
American
depends
definition?
how many.
No, by
It
American
depends. It
definition,
depends.
they're black. I'm sorry. The
They,
one
yes,
black
they're
rule.
Hold on, their
Look,
American definition and is what they go by. So when you look at, like, for instance, Don Peebles, because he's mixed himself, those kids they're not black and they're white passing. So you can say that, but at the end of the day,
But
they're
Adam
socially are
Clayton
not gonna
Powell was white passing.
hold on. What I'm telling you is, the reason I'm even having this this point is because I know how certain people are, and it's what's called to say the Pan Africans. You know what I'm talking about.
I
These
know you
people,
don't, but
yeah,
trying to
and
say,
they will,
I'm
and
trying to
they
pull it
won't
out of
even
you, Edward. I'm
engage.
trying
And
to
I
pull it
get
out of
it,
you.
but what they won't even engaging you in that debate. They will shut you down just off top because that's what they're on. That's part of some of that is part of that
Yeah, but
gynocracy shit.
we are black men travel here. We are not those people. That's what I'm trying
Okay,
to tell you.
but see, this is another thing too. A
listen.
lot of the folks that are even gonna be on the traveling are gonna be Pan Africanists. So there's certain my point is, all I'm saying is these are things that need to be considered.
All
That's
I'm
it.
gonna say is this, bro. As far as that, right? The whole focus on interracial dating is a symptom of the gynocracy.
Exactly.
The women focus on that because they want to change the playing field so they have a better chance. Men are not really concerned with that unless they're gynocentric. They're caping for women. They're trying to show off for women. If
I
you
mean,
have
we're
a
talking about
goal on
going to
mind, hold
black
on, hold on, let me land,
countries.
let me land, let me land. If you have a goal on in your mind, you're not really worried about who people are sleeping with. If Don Peebles is an engineer and he could come to Nigeria in Ile-Ife and set up my farm for me and set up my irrigation system, I could give a fuck who he's fucking. I don't care what type of woman he decides to own. That's not as important to me as building infrastructure. And any real man thinks that way. Just focus on women. That's some women stuff.
And my point is we're getting to have this conversation as gynocentric because black women don't even operate on these principles that they want to enforce on us.
Right.
Black women sleep with who they want to. They
No,
go out
hell
with
no.
their.
No, hell
Oh
no, they
yes, they
don't.
do. Edward, you haven't been. Edward, I'm in school. I seen these black women who were so-called educated and all that, and half of them are still with these Pookie and Ray Rays, and the other ones are trying to sleep with these white boys.
They all
I'm
the same.
telling you, and you think that this,
Well,
and
that's
it's
what I
more,
was
and
saying. Yes.
but that's what
He
I'm
agreeing
saying.
with you.
I'm
Yeah.
trying to tell you, Edward, this is what's going on. You'll be see, and then it's only when they got ran through or they get to a certain age they turn pro-black. I'm serious. You don't these.
I
I'm
mean,
just trying.
it's a
And
lot of people. They don't have nothing going on in their life, and then the only thing they can have is I'm gonna become pro-black in order to cover up for it. I'm a failure. It's a lot of
well,
people like that.
Well,
well,
A
shoot,
lot
you
of
can talk
women
about
do that.
sororities. You can talk about jobs. I mean, they join a lot of things. They still the same females. You in sorority, but you still the same chick. You
yeah,
got this job title. You still the same chick.
and
Nothing
and, and
changed.
but the thing about it is when they I seen it when they went out like this chick was working with us, so she went to Harvard MBA school, and then she came back to the job, and then the guy who went with her, he always went with her. He went there and he says like, yo, that girl, she was only dealing with white dudes, and then when she graduated, the white dude dumped her, and then she come back and all of a sudden want to be pro-black. I'm telling you, I see it all the time in my company. I see it all the time.
Nah, I think Edward agrees with you. I think we all agree with you.
Yeah. So I'm just giving you some examples of what I've seen, and I said like, why are we worried about what black women think? Because they don't follow their own rules. So why do we care what they think?
I'm not. I'm not worried about it. Anybody on this panel worried about what black women think about what we trying to do?
Hell no. They worry about what we trying to do.
I ain't worried
Exactly.
about that.
Yeah, yeah, that's
Remember
true.
when we traveled, we were pedophiles. Remember that
Hey,
shit?
yeah, that's true. Hey, a quick shout out to my brother
Nothing
Andre
I
Hatchett
have
in the building,
stated.
man.
Yes.
What's up, Andre?
Yeah, stop the show.
Go
What's
ahead.
up?
Nothing.
Hey, peace, Andre. I know. I think
Shout out
Andre,
to
you
Andre
got
Hatch.
Jamaican heritage, bro. I'm trying to build. I'm trying to start a business in Jamaica, man. I don't know if you got any peoples out there
Nothing
or
I have
anybody to.
said has to do with what black women say. These are shit that dudes be running their mouth
I
about.
know,
Now,
but
true,
these are
they
the
get it
same.
from black women,
Exactly. That's my point. They're the echo chamber.
but
Black women say it, and then
all right,
these guys come and say like it's fact.
all right, man.
Let me ask the panel this. I'm gonna ask you. I'll start off with you, Edward. How involved do you think the black women were when Brothers was building Black Wall Streets? Do you think they had a vital role in it?
They were just on call as far as the house, but no, they weren't.
So,
Not as much as they like
so
to act
basically,
like they
they were
are.
playing
No,
the housewife role for the most part.
because remember, the dudes were doing the labor. The dudes had the skills. Most of ex-slaves or females, they were just birthing kids and doing work. That was their role was to birth kids for the most part,
Mhm.
and do work on the side. Dudes are the ones with the skills. That's why they had to pull up. Remember, so no, black women did not have a lot to do other than being on code as far as family, as far as the networking of things, as far as church and stuff. Other than that, no, the actual building of Black Wall Street, no, they didn't. Despite what
I
they want
think
to act
women
like,
are
But if
not as
important
that's the
much
in
as
it.
they
case,
would like to
you don't need
promote.
them to build, right? Is that what you're saying?
No, no, yeah, no, you don't.
No, you need to take that
Exactly. I
household.
agree with that. You don't need them. That's why I said you can go to other places and get other women. You don't need them.
Yeah, but I mean that's absolute facts. I mean don't look, man. Don't let black girl magic, all these black economic, all this business gynocentric, wanting to gas up black women bullshit fool you. Even the wealth in the United States, even the little black wealth we have in the United States today, a lot of that shit is ran through men. Most of the stuff that women get is pretty much based on service industry jobs that they're damn near given, and they're just moving money around. But actually, the industrial shit, the blue collar shit, the actual things that it takes to build shit, no, they're not doing a lot of that. Now, obviously, I could argue there's like 10% that are doing some really good shit, but I'm talking about as a collective group versus black men as a collective group.
Well, the average worth is only $5. We didn't come up with that. That was statistics. You know,
I'm not so down on women. Women are important and women can be powerful, but they have to be in the context of
I
a
fucking hate
man's
using the
vision.
word. Stop using the word women in power. I'm tired of that. I'm not mad
Okay,
at you. I can't
no,
stand
I
that
understand
powerful
what you're
shit.
saying. I understand what you're saying. But what I'm saying is they can be powerful in the context of a man's
And he said it again.
order.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? That's what I mean. That's what yeah. Because I understand what you're saying, but I'm saying women have to be in line with what you're saying. If they're under a man's leadership, you could have women doing all kind of shit that you could push a woman so far to do shit on your behalf further than you could push a lot of niggas. You know what I mean? But they
I
can't be
need a.
trying to
That's true.
get this on themselves.
I hate to admit I hate that shit. But that shit, especially in this gynocracy, that's actually true. I hate
But
that shit.
it in this system, a lot of women ain't down to be there to do that. You know what I'm saying? So
Well,
it doesn't really.
what I'm saying. Well, what it depends is like,
Well,
okay, if you're doing
in this country, bro,
business.
they here to compete with you in this country.
Well,
Right.
if you're, it depends. If you're doing that's mostly true. But if you're doing business on some shit, and then it's about okay, you have this goal, and then it's a different scenario. Now, if you're talking about like in a relationship and sexual competition, then yes, they're doing that, and that's why most of these chicks are alone today. You know, they want to call that colorism. The posture. I mean, I just, oh man, I can't tell you the bullshit I had to deal with master teacher and that bullshit I had to get off of. That shit drained the fuck out of
all
me.
I know, black women have divorced themselves from black men since the 1970s. With if you're going to think that I'm lying, go
68.
look. Yep, look up Barbara Smith and sectionality for feminism. This is what they've done. If you haven't noticed what they have been doing, if you go to Harris County in Texas, they won 19% of the judges. They won 19 judges' positions. They're mayors all over the thing. They're trying to do government. Now they're moving in a political action pact to actually put themselves and not quietly just push us out of this whole thing.
So
So
why are we trying to do the same thing as not only black women but all the other groups do the
a
same
question:
thing?
Do Asian men have to compete with their women? Does
It's
the
not
white
about
man?
competing
And
with
They're
her.
not
I'm
our women
making a
though.
point.
But
I'm
look,
They're
making.
not our
the white
women.
man. Hold on, real
You
quick.
see what I'm saying?
No,
Hey,
bro,
Ramil,
hold
you
on,
asked
bro,
the
bro. The
question. When
white
I
man.
answered the question,
hold on,
No,
bro.
I'm
Quick.
answering your
Hold on.
question.
Let the question out. Hold on.
I'm
Go ahead.
asking you a question. The question is the white man is competing with the white woman. That's why feminism started with the white
no,
woman.
he's not. No, he's not. That's not what he's doing.
But
If
I'm
you
saying
think that,
all white women
no,
out here competing.
that's not true. That's not true.
But what is
The white
white
man is
feminism? What
not
is white female
competing with his
feminism?
woman. And if you thought that 53% of them wouldn't have voted for Donald Trump, that's not true.
They can
They're not
corporate
voting.
just come out
I'm answering your question, Ramil. They are not competing. We are the only ones. We are the only group that we have to
what is
even
white feminism about?
even the Mexicans who come across on the border and they got a little taco stand, their
But what
women
is
are
white
competing
feminism?
with. And
What
I,
is white
oh God,
feminism
forgive
about?
me.
You're
I'm sorry.
avoiding the question is you're saying that they don't compete. I'm saying, okay, I gave you an example of them competing. White feminism is an example of white females competing with white men for positions of power.
And have they and you're saying that all white women? I can say the majority of black women are competing with black.
The difference is it's a form like a lot of what Ramil is talking about is a form of class warfare. So it depends on the classes. But I will say that still doesn't get around the fact, even if you want to say black women competing for black men is no excuse for black men to compete for power. Step one is black men to
Exactly.
completely remove, because here's what doesn't get said about those 19 judges. Black men put those judges in office just as much as black women. The difference between black women and black men is when black men vote for black women, they think they're voting for black people. When black
Exactly.
women vote for black women, they know they're voting for black women. So step one, and this is where I am willing to have an argument about, not on this panel, but on other panels. This is why I am argumentative about this. Is black men, most black men don't even realize that they're in a gynocracy. They haven't accepted that. Because when you accept that, the first thing you're going to do is, okay, what are you going to do about it? Now, if people talk about going overseas, that can still be on the table and still happen. That doesn't have to slow down. But what you do while you're here is the first thing that black men need to do is stop supporting the black gynocracy. So black
That's
men. So
my
now
point.
this
True. That's fact.
Well,
That's
black
can I?
my
men need to.
whole point.
That's easy. That's a choice. And see, the problem is a lot of the black gynocracy is built upon black men contributing to it.
That's
Well, how
my
about
point. That was my whole point. We are the only ones who are forced to deal with the people who are we competing with. Even the white man.
We're not forced. How are we forced to deal with
How
them?
we forced?
How?
Okay, explain to me what other group? Okay, how are we? Who do we have to deal with if we don't deal with the black women we're dealt with?
Pick a race. You don't.
Anybody.
Ain't nobody like we just talked
We
about
do.
that
Wait. When we do that, that's why SYBM is doing. And what happens? They come up with all kinds of
because
things.
that's a.
Can I
But
It's
make a
I
always
point?
an
hear you.
excuse,
Okay.
man. Hey, what does the black
I
female
hear
have to
you.
do with
But
what
that's
does the black
still a
female have to do
choice.
with black men competing for power? The black female has nothing to do with black men going for power
Well,
in this country.
they indoctrinate the young men. They
That's right.
indoctrinate men
I'm talking
into
about
a
okay, but
gynocracy.
when we get
That's still a
grown,
choice.
at some point when we get grown, we're gonna have to break the
Yeah,
spell. We're
but
gonna have to
brother,
cold turkey.
Oh,
you
really?
gotta wait
Well, we
You
until
gotta.
you're
think
grown.
you think
That's
Bro,
it's
too much of a wait.
if you rob a bank or commit robbery, you can't say I was raised by a single mother. At some point in
what
time,
is
men,
that is not even a good
yes,
Ramil.
it
You got it.
is.
No, it's not. Because you're talking about personal responsibility versus now we're gonna go back to that thing about
We're
cultural
personally
And
responsible for not gaining power. We're personally responsible for not gaining power. That's
Edward, you
oh
our
my god.
problem.
Edward, you handle this one. I'm not going through that
No,
whole
I mean, me and Ramil have had this. Ramil understands what culture is as capable. He's saying is you have to start somewhere. And the reality of the situation is you have to start by promoting to black men that they're in a gynocracy. Most black men don't even realize that. And we don't need everybody to understand it. 'Cause the only thing we need is like a bank. The only thing, if a bank, let's say Wells Fargo, when Wells Fargo was fucked, boy, they was stealing from everybody, even white folks. But what do? You say, fuck this. I'm closing my accounts. I pull out my money. Everybody does it from the bank. But I don't think black men really understand how much they hold up this gynocracy. If we already stopped marrying them like that. We already stopped being stepdad like that. And then what do you hear them doing? Crying colorism. No other man is gonna fuck with them like that. So the reality is, once we do it, what they're gonna fuck with each other? Yeah, a lot of them will fuck with each other as far as going lesbian. But at the end of the day, we have to stop supporting that. Then
it's
we go and compete for that. So they're already going to be weakened by us not
Edward.
supporting it.
Edward, you
Hold on,
already
I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this, and I'm done. First, if somebody would say, "Okay, nigga, what thing can you talk about me? What thing to tell me one simple thing that I can do to hurt the gynocracy? Go vote for Donald Trump. Vote neutralize their ability to the Democrats support them. Because if you neutralize that,
I can tell you this. When black men
and I don't
started
even like Donald Trump. Go ahead.
when black men started to divorce themselves by SYSBM and the passport bros, who said like we're not going to deal with this shit anymore. That sent them, and the thing that really got them out that really got them started is when and I know some of you guys don't like this, but MGTOW started that shit. And then when SYSBM and all these other groups came in, um, that's when they knew this thing was over. That's what's hurting them because
No.
you ain't gonna
The
have
numbers
no.
are too small. It's
Yeah,
No,
not. It
but
hasn't
exactly.
pushed the
you
mainstream
That's
yet.
like
understand it
that shit
doesn't.
is like a
Okay,
that shit is
but
like a
listen,
shot.
Jonathan.
That hold
I'm
on,
just
that shit is like a
no.
shot across the bow.
I
See, that's
know,
still
but you gotta
technically not
understand.
competing
You
for
gotta
power,
understand.
though.
Okay, well, what is the marriage rate for black couples today?
That is not competing for power.
No, that's not competing for power. But what you're doing is not feeding the beast. What is
That's
you're
true.
not taking care of their children. You're not taking care. You're not
Black
feeding the
men are
beast.
still married more than black women.
Excuse me.
This is also why you pump and dump too, because you
I don't
remove
pump it.
all
I,
ties. But
I
hold on.
don't
But
even
what I'm
pump
saying
and
is
dump.
black
I mean,
men, But what I'm saying is those 19 judges. Where's the art? I'm not telling you. Saying this for everybody. Where's the articles talk about black men? How the fuck shaming like in Atlanta too? What was that place,
no.
Fulton
As
County,
soon as
where
well,
all these bitches are
wait.
controlled
As
by
soon
the
as a
government?
black dude said that he just graduated law school, and then what did they do? And he said he's the prize. What did those same people do? Talking about, oh, you're not the prize at all. This is
Oh, so
what.
you talking? So
I'm bringing it
you
all.
talking?
hold
You
on, quick,
talking
Black
this
Church.
shit to me.
Hold
You
on,
hold on. I want to
hold on.
say this and I'm done. You
Yeah.
talking this shit to me about that little pussy ass pushback from these females, but you want to tell me we about to go overseas and establish a whole
No,
another
that's not
society?
what I'm saying. I'm saying I'm bringing the example of you saying why we don't do it here, and I'm saying the system as we have it here.
Because they won't
It's
let you.
exactly the system as it here, and anytime one black person male gets out of that thing, out of that position, what do they want to do? They want to with a hammer to push you back into that thing and says, no, you are in a gynocracy. You will behave as you are supposed to. You behave as what you are supposed to. And that's what I'm talking about. We don't need all of us. I still say all I need is 5% to get the fuck out of here, and we will prove that I am right.
But you're gonna get pushed back. See, the thing about it is, and I gotta say this: when I want to do something, I don't care about what other people. I'm going to do it, and it's too much. This is where all this intensity is coming from. Is it's almost as if it's needed for other people to come with me. I'm gonna already set something up on my own, and if I do need other people to do it, I'm going to go get those people that are needed to do it. I'm not gonna be having back and forth battles about certain people if I'm trying to bring them on my side
No, but
because
you
I'm
know
in
what? You know
sales,
what
and
happens
then they've
is
already established. Hold on, and now as far as these females are concerned, 'cause this is important. The reality of the situation is, no matter what you want, you're gonna have to fight for it. And so my point is, even when it comes to this gynocracy, yes, they're gonna fight for you not to be able to pull out because they understand how important you are to that shit. Cause so but that's anything in America, even when it comes to propaganda, which is what we're going to be doing, is telling the truth. That requires you to be able to fight. So just because they're not letting you do anything, they're not going to let you do shit. Nobody is. That's what competing for power is about. To
No,
compete.
Edward, the strongest
Hey, hold
weapon.
on, real quick, Black Church. Hey, what were you saying about Fulton County? That's where I stay in. What were you saying?
What I was saying is, what is the municipality in Atlanta or around Atlanta where it's nothing but bitches control it from top to bottom? All the shit.
Is that Decatur?
You know, it was a couple of years ago. It may not be bitches from top to bottom now, but it was something with either South
You
Fulton is
talking
what
about
they
South
had.
Fulton County, basically.
Yeah, he's talking
Okay,
about
so
Decatur.
what?
All my homegirls
So
in there, man.
since you from there, the fuck are you niggas doing? How did that happen?
Well,
you
I'm
don't
not
vote.
from there. I'm from New York, so I have
No,
no.
I ain't talking.
Big booty.
No. I ain't talking about you. I'm talking about what you got from South Fulton. What pussy got y'all voting for nothing but bitches? You going to child support court and then you seeing a bitch bailiff, a bitch judge, fucking bitches in the crowd, like, and they all don't think. No, I'm just saying that's
I
an
mean,
example
who
of
does the
what you would
Democratic
do.
Party
That's an
benefit?
example.
Who does the
That's
Democratic
it.
Party benefit?
I'm just saying that's an example. I'm not literally saying that, but that's an example of what you would do. You'd be like, what are you niggas doing? And here's the thing, it's not about beating y'all up. It's about saying, oh wow, that shit is really happening. Because what I've been saying is like in Durham, not where I live, but like the next county, they have all these black female commissioners, niggas are still getting killed. Black female mayors, niggas are still getting
But
killed.
see, but
You know,
this is the way they deal with the Democratic Party doesn't work toward power for black men that are alive, right, or not in police custody. If you notice, when
yeah,
they say they're going to do something for black people, it's for the dead ones or for the ones that are already in jail who are already marginalized from a
true.
power perspective. Because the white system that's on the side of the Democrat and the black female both agree we're not going to give this dude any power because we don't trust him,
So
right?
why
They
do
may
black
have
men
different
vote?
reasons.
So why do black
Democrat.
men
Why
vote
do black men
Democrat?
vote Democrat? Good damn question. It needs to stop.
I got a question for both of
All
you.
black people
Oh
should
well,
stop voting
Candace
Democrat, really.
Owens. Oh,
No. I just
Fuck
got
Candace
one
Owens.
question for you. Okay.
Candace Owens is a
Well, okay.
Democratic chancellor.
Y'all think that the Republican Party is going to do something for you better. Okay, let's do a thought experiment.
Nobody
But
Okay.
said
no, but
that,
wait
by
a
the
No,
minute.
way.
But
no,
wait,
Go
we didn't
ahead.
say that.
no,
I didn't say that.
because you okay, but I'm just saying let's do a thought
Can
experiment.
I
I
don't
make
vote.
my point clear before you? I'm not.
Okay, go ahead, go
We're
ahead. I'll
talking
let you
about
go ahead.
leaving. We're talking about leaving and harming the Democratic Party is different from saying the Republican Party is going to do something that you see what I'm saying? I didn't say that. I'm saying leave the Democratic Party and vote Republican to hurt the Democratic Party.
Okay.
And
The
also
argue.
let me
Wait,
establish, and
Edward,
let me
Edward, let
also
me finish.
establish. Hold on, let me establish what's in the Republican platform. Number one, I'm I'm fuck abortion. These women say I got them pregnant. They don't need the right to abort. So I'm for that. That's in their platform. I'm against immigration. That's in their platform. I'm against gay marriage. I'm against the gay shit. I want that dialed the fuck back. That's in their platform. So even so, I get the racial shit, but for what's in their fucking platform, there's a lot more shit in their fucking platform than in the Democratic platform that I'm actually for. So
Okay.
remember, and they're anti-gynocracy. But go
Okay.
ahead. Go ahead. You good?
Okay. Okay. I'm neither Republican. I vote my interests, and I have not seen on either side, as a straight black male, my interests being articulated on either side, Republican or Democrat. Even though there's elements on both sides, there's elements on both sides, as what came out with the Republican. But I'm also against corporate welfare on the Republican side. I'm also against them raiding the country who are supposed to be fiscal conservatives and giving $16 trillion to the rich. I'm definitely opposed to that. But let me go back to I'm sorry, but that's just what happened.
You fucking sidestepped it. I mean, my point is, if we're talking
No,
about
I'm just
black men,
giving
if we
Edward,
are
you
talking,
brought in see?
your personal interest is irrelevant. I'm talking about black male interests, and the
Oh,
reality
we
is
okay.
that hold
Okay,
on,
let
and
me ask you a question. No,
I'm
no, no, no.
technically a
Edward, you
registered
interrupted
Democrat.
me. So
I'm
let me ask you something.
technically a registered
You
Democrat.
you
There is a
mentioned
lot more.
you mentioned you how you see the benefits of Republicans, and I'm saying I can say from my standpoint, I never said your things was wrong, but when I said I have a problem with some things that the Republicans are doing now, is
Okay,
that
but my
wrong?
point is
But
the enemy of my
go
enemy is
ahead,
my
man.
friend. The enemy of my
It's
enemy is my friend.
it's not even about it. No, you're right about that. But the thing about it is, we got to have a high. First of all, black men have to start economically investing in the political system. Black women do it. Black men need to start. That's number fucking one. That's regardless if people choose to leave. Because even if people choose to leave, then the people that are gonna stay here are still need to start making it so there's laws that creates better pipelines that gives us privileges to do that. That's one reason why we always get fucked over, because we don't economically invest in the system. That's the first thing. The second thing is, even if somebody says, well, I'm a Democrat, I'm registered, I'm never voting Republican. Fine. Primary the fuck out of these Democrats. Because you need to do what the Tea
Again,
Party did and primary them and remove these people that are
that's
fucking
not
not representing our interests
that's
there.
not what my point
All
was.
right, go ahead, man. Because
My
I mean, we're
point
talking around
was
all this bullshit.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. We're jumping around. My point is that when I'm going back to the original point, the strongest weapon black men have against the gynocracy is not marrying them, having no children with them, and leaving them the fuck alone.
That's a
That's the
lie.
strong.
Go ahead.
Yeah, that's not gonna work.
Because they will because
Wait.
Ramil can speak to this, because
Okay,
they're
Hold on,
only
Bato.
fucking
Let
they're
Matt
only
go ahead.
I
having
was
kids with
measuring
like
my thing. You won't let
25%.
me talk
They are
again.
only having babies with only like fucking 15% of the population anyway.
Right,
They don't need your ass to
right.
replicate.
That's
Oh,
my
damn.
point. But then why are they the ones now screaming for us to come and clean up the community? I'm
They don't give
sorry.
a fuck about that. Yeah, they're gonna
They- they-
scream, but at the end,
uh, and when we move to other communities or go
man,
someplace
oh my
else,
god,
okay. All right, I don't understand, Edwin. You just said that
Hey,
they don't need us. So then,
the
if
rest of
they don't
y'all,
need
some
us,
of
hold
y'all
then
speak
on,
up, because
hold
maybe
on,
I
guys.
can't
Let's just
explain it.
say real quick, man. Shout out to Andre Hatchett for the $9.99. Good talk, guys. Appreciate that. Hey, 1247, you want to hop in there, man? You ain't said nothing in a while.
Shit.
Oh no, I'm just it's as far as the gunocracy. Listen, my thing is like this. Let's be honest. Black men, play this. Black men are not part of the community at all. We are
Facts.
outside. We are not part of the community. The community
Yeah,
is
I agree.
her and her children. So the thing is, we need to establish our own type of entity. Like
exactly.
we're on the outside looking in. We're not we don't fit into the matrix process. We're just the donors. Like we just whatever
Nigga,
we produce,
you
everybody else takes, and that's it. So the thing
nigga,
is,
you
we had
you
to
on the outside looking in and you pay rent. Go ahead.
No, I'm saying
that
we
too.
don't even
Hold on,
pay
hold on,
rent.
Bato. Hold on, Black Choice. Let 12
I
finish.
ain't mean to
But yeah,
interrupt you. I ain't mean to interrupt you.
no. But that's all I'm saying is us establishing, having our own constitution, having our own bylaws, having our own thing. I mean, because right now it's like a dead conversation. It's like a spinning door type thing. Like we're complaining about the black community, but the black community don't give a shit about productive men. Listen, you produce, we take, you keep it moving. If you die, oh well, we're just gonna go with somebody else.
And
So the thing is, go ahead.
that's my point. That's the black
Hold on,
community
Black Choice.
here
Hold
in
on.
America.
I want Ramil to respond to
Oh,
that. Ramil, you got anything to say to that, brother?
Yeah, look, man. Black men, it's at the end of the day, it's do you want power or not? Like we keep talking about, outcash and that part of this and that part of that. What's that got to do with if you want something, you're gonna take it. If you really worry about some community shit, go buy the property of the community. Who cares what they think of you? Who cares if they call you a lame? Well, make sure they have that rent on the first, so you're gonna evict that goofy ass. It should be
For
no
real though.
reason. It should be no reason why the Arabs are in black communities getting millions and billions every year from black. That's black men's money. That's money for black
Yeah,
men. Whether
I
you
talked
don't
about that
fuck with the
earlier.
community or not, whether you don't fuck, that's money that's rightfully yours by birthright, because that's money's coming from black people. Whether you fuck with black people or not, it should be no reason why other races are getting that much of the black dollar. The Koreans selling weed, that should be black men getting that money. Whether you don't fuck with these black holes or not, because that's your birthright. Is money. We look for all these industries to get the money. We can't even get it from our own people, and that just makes us look weak as men. You know what I mean? So don't worry about what they think. Get the money from them. Impose your economic will. That's what black
okay.
men
Yeah,
have to
and,
start
and
doing.
and all I'm
Wait,
hearing, and let me go
wait.
ahead.
Because I love when these pro-black and these pro-business dudes talking about impose their will. That is that will never happen in America, because anytime I give an example, you try to evict somebody out their apartment and all that. What is it? What is it? What are they going to do? They're going to call the man. They're going to call the what's the name? Then he's going to come and she's going to say, "Well, he put his hands on me," or some kinds of
What are you talking
bull.
about? If you
I'm
don't pay,
telling you,
you go
I've
to
seen it.
court,
Oh my
file an
I'm
God.
eviction,
done.
and
I'm done.
the
I'm
sheriff
done.
takes out the tenant. All they gotta do
Nigga,
is put his hands on
I'm
people.
sorry, y'all. I'm
If you
sorry
don't
they
pay the
got y'all
rent,
here.
file an
First of
eviction,
all,
and you
first
get the tenant moved out
First of
by the
all,
sheriff.
I hate this. I hate to say this, but see, man, when it comes to New York, I don't know why niggas are even in New York. Because when people talk about building and doing all this shit, that is extremely difficult in New York because of a lot of the jinky shit you was talking about. I believe everything you saying in New York. This is why a lot of motherfuckers going to the South right now, or they're going west. The reality of the situation is, it's like it's almost like, is it America why you mad, or is it New York why you mad? Because everything I'm hearing is like some unique New York northeastern fuckery. I'm
Okay.
from the Midwest.
I don't know. I'll be honest with you. I only lived overseas because of or in New York. I never lived in any other place but what's the name. But I lived
Okay,
in Japan. I lived in the Philippines. I lived in Europe.
to,
I
to, to
lived all
be
over.
to
So
be fair, New York has unique fuckery with it. Now, I'm not obviously I'm from the Midwest. There is fuckery here too, but there is unique laws because of all the buildings and the population controls. So, like, I live in North Carolina right now, and yes, I can show you highways that you can see the populations that got split. So I get that, but at the same time, the difference between like North Carolina is like where I grew up. I grew up in a town called Holly Springs that is in basically south of Cary, which people know it's like a suburb. The point is, black people own that land. You know what black people did? White people came along and said, "I'll buy this shit for that market rate," just like Ramil said, and it was nothing but flat farmland. And what the town manager did, who was there for like 30 years, and I'm telling you, the kids of these people told me this because I wasn't born there. They fucking remade it and basically developed the land, and now the town, you can't get a house under like 350,000, which is easy to get a house under that anywhere else. The point is, those niggas sold that shit, and I know because of our original landlords, we came down there. Actually, they still had land. There was still some landlords. So the point is, there's a lot of places where black people or black people fucked up in probate, where when they died, the kids split off the land and trick off the money. This is where the bitch shit come in, and the dudes acquiesce into it. So what everything is not the white man came and fucked them up. We do a lot of shit to help the white man fuck us up. We do. Even in New York, look at like look at. Hold on, I'm gonna say this. I'm done. I'm not even trying to jump on New York. That's why I started so here.
Yeah,
Look
I
at
don't
like
care.
when the
New
people
York,
died,
New York.
like Harlem. Look at Harlem, like when people died, and then I forget what her name is, Langston Hughes, and all of that. How the stuff almost got sold off. There is a lot of stuff that we can do. And here's my thing: if people want to leave and establish a place outside of here, I am not only cool with doing that, I will help you do that because for future references, that may be something I want to do. But at the same time, we have to understand that there is going to be some shit you have to do here. There is no escaping that. You have to handle some shit here. And even if
Why
you
do you think? Why
individually
I
go,
gotta interrupt this? Why
because
I
you
have
give us so
never,
much pushback.
I never, you never heard me say, and we can rewind this thing, that we couldn't do it. That there's a disconnect from here. I just said that I explicitly said that I was still gonna be working as a remote nomad. So I don't understand.
Anytime we talk
Okay,
about getting power, you have all of this like I need to shut freeze the conversation.
who
That's why
said
I'm
that?
saying this.
No, because
All right.
I just said that.
Maybe I'm the dumb nigga.
Yeah,
And the rest
no,
of
no,
y'all, the
I've never
jury.
said no. I never said you were dumb, Edward. Come on, let's not
No, I
devolve.
didn't say you were dumb. I'm saying that. I mean, the rest of y'all, am I
No, I
hearing
never
something
said that.
different?
I know, but no,
Maybe I'm being
I'm,
overly emotional and reactive.
no, I'm not going to even go there. All I'm saying is like this. I realized, I kept saying, I don't understand why I'm still stuck on this. Why are we still trying to do the same thing over and over here and expect a different result? That's all I'm saying.
Black men have only really tried to go after power in the United States a couple of times. You
We
make it sound
haven't
like
did
it's
it.
this
We haven't did
consistent
it. We
thing.
never went after power in the United
Well,
States.
look at
Really,
Wilmington,
No,
like
North
outside.
that's not
Carolina,
true. That's
brothers.
not true.
No, hold on.
No,
Outside,
that's
hold
not
on. I
true.
won't. No, I won't say never, but outside of Black Wall Street, the civil
No,
rights wasn't
no,
exercising
no,
going for power.
No,
The
no,
that's
Black
not true either,
Panthers,
man.
you
That's
shouldn't even.
no,
The Black
no.
Panthers, you shouldn't even
I
count
gotta
that.
tell
Right
you this.
after
I
slavery.
gotta
Right
tell you
after
this.
slavery.
Look
Okay,
up
when have we
what
Wilmington,
gone for
about
North.
what
power?
about Denmark VC, Edward?
No,
Denmark VC, the next turn of
outside of
rebellion.
Jim Crow, outside the Nats. Come on, man. That's not
Look
going
up
for power. That's
look
escaping.
up
There's a difference.
Wilmington, North
Yeah,
Carolina.
Wilmington, North Carolina.
Carolina.
Yeah,
You can go to Columbus.
All of
Can I
that.
finish?
All
Columbus.
of that is Black Wall Street. All of that is
That's not
Black Wall
Black
Street
Wall Street.
era.
You know, but Edward, that's the majority. That's when black people were finally free to do their own thing, where they
So
were free
outside of
without
that,
any
So what
wait
about Central
without
Park?
any with any Jim Crow laws or segregation laws. This is before anything that happened, when black people were free to actually build something. But
did you just say without Jim Crow law? Jim Crow law and segregation laws is the main
Jim
reason black
Crow
people built
came
their own shit.
after Reconstruction. Look it up.
Right.
So,
They had to build. They built
okay.
the Jim
So,
Crow laws
so,
in response to us building things.
so
We were
my
building
point
things, and
is,
then they used
but
Jim Crow
that
to cut
is
us off.
in the same
Exactly. That's what
era.
I'm trying to tell
Oh
Edward.
my God. So outside the fucking era, stop naming different cities. Outside of the
That's,
era of
bro, that's the
Reconstruction,
1800s.
when have we built shit?
No, but that's the 1800s. Then Black Wall Street was destroyed in the 1900s.
1920.
Yeah.
So, Edward, every time
That's when it was
they have
destroyed.
come
That
up
wasn't
with
when it was
new
built. Those are not two separate things. That's
Bro,
one
yes,
that's
it
era.
is.
I mean, okay. So if we saying in 60-year blocks, there's only been
So how
one
many times
60-year
has it
block
been
since the
destroyed?
end of Jim
Exactly.
Crow.
So how many has it been destroyed? You make it sound like it's like all these times. You're naming different examples, but I'm talking about eras. Like I'm
No,
talking
but
about
what I'm
eras.
saying is we're constantly going through power and we're dealing with oppression. And if you're gonna take a 60-year block, remember, 1865 is the 13th Amendment. 60 years from now, then is the 20s. Then we have 40 years of Jim Crow, which doesn't count. In 1965, we have the Civil Rights Movement. We've only had 60 years since then, bro. So we only would have two chances.
Understand
It's Jim Crow and segregation.
understand a very small percentage of black people are leaving. That's what you need to get real. The majority of black people are staying their ass here. So this
I know.
idea,
Wait,
so that is a moot. So that is a moot. Hold on.
Going back to something.
Like wow, man, what the fuck?
No,
Go
Edward,
ahead,
we
man.
agreed with that. but but the whole point that you said that there was we didn't have the block of time when we did things, and I'm telling you, we did
That's not.
before,
Yes, I
and they
did. You're
came
trying to
up
fuck
with
up my.
can I
You were
finish my
trying to
point?
mute out my
I'm not trying to
conversation.
mute your thing.
Hold on,
Edward.
Black
Okay.
Torch. Hold on, brother. Hold on. Let Edward finish his thoughts.
Like I said, as far as at the end of the fucking day, it doesn't matter what the fuck y'all saying. The majority of black people are going to remain in the United States of fucking America. So every time we talk about the gynocracy or we talking about pushing back or dealing with something here, you all basically want to, not you all, but whoever it applies to, want to basically freeze the conversation and say, no, fuck that, I'm leaving. Okay, you can do that, but a lot of people are going to stay. So your ability to do the speed in which you are able to build overseas, part of that will be predicated on what the fuck can be done in the United States. So this idea that we can just say, let everything stand as is, I'm out as a collective, whichever, if it's 5%, they're still going to be dependent on that 95% still fucking here. That's what I'm saying.
How are you figuring that? If
All
I'm
right, man.
wait. No, I'm
The
going
rest of
with you.
y'all
I'm
get in
Edward.
here.
Edward, you just said something that was quite interesting. You're saying that the 5% is predicated on the 95%. And how's that? When I make my own money as a digital nomad, it's my money. I don't share it with anybody else on that. That's just something that I did, something that I created, and something that I worked for. So how is that? How did you make that correlation with the rest of the people here? I'm confused by that.
Yeah, because you keep on having microeconomic conversations when I'm having macroeconomic conversations. That's really
Okay.
part of the confusion.
Okay.
The
So
other
let's
part is
say
I
let
did no, I said
Hey
5%.
guys,
I
hold
didn't
on, hold
say
on.
you. I didn't say you. I said the 5%, which is a collective. 5% of black people, you're looking at what, maybe for it was like a million. So yes, the speed at which they are able to establish something is gonna be based on the credit that they can pull from the United States will be by, if they're smart, from other black people. And I'm talking about other black, wealthy black people that decide to stay. We're not talking about like the bottom 50, they ain't gonna do shit anyway. So at the end of the day, you have to get them on a certain similar page, which dealing with the gynocracy, which shouldn't take that much because it should be just convincing people to unplug to do it. But every time we talk about doing something here, it's all this, oh, fuck that, I'm not doing that, I'm out. And at the end of the day, you can be like that, but most people are going to still be here. So it's a conversation that has to be addressed. But go
oh
ahead.
Yeah,
Edward,
I
I
think
never said I
we need
never
a
said
plan for
Black
both.
wait.
Torch, hold on for finish that thought. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up for the night, fellas. I appreciate y'all coming on the show. Ramil, you want to go ahead and start off with your last thoughts?
No, appreciate you having me, man. Interesting conversation. Like I said, I do think black men can build Black Wall Street in America if we're willing to put the pedal to the metal, with something that in America we haven't really made an attempt for actual true power. We had little coups here and there, but to actual like taking over industries and controlling major infrastructures, I don't think we gave that a try yet. I think we should. Appreciate you having me. And yeah, man, you know, y'all be easy out here.
I appreciate you coming on, brother. Mufasa Shabazz, you want to jump in there with your last thoughts?
No, I think, like I said, to respond to what Edward was saying or to add on, you do need a plan for here and you do need a plan for there, even if you're an overseas group of people, because I don't want to sit. I'm not here to convince people who don't want to go overseas or don't want to build or don't mind sitting in the white man's lap, being his bitch for a living. I don't want to talk to them, right?
Okay.
I don't want to talk to them, right? But they attack us constantly. When we speak, they attack us constantly. So we have to provide counter narratives for people who are on the fence and may want to come. And then we still need to be able to recruit more people who are thinking this way or would think this way. So we still need a voice here. We still need a plan here, but we need a plan outside of here also. So that's it, man. Thanks for having me on the show.
Oh man, much appreciate you coming on, brother. 1247, last thoughts.
Yeah, last thoughts. Like I said, fellas, man, let's be proactive. I think more now than ever. I don't think we have that much time to be really pussyfooting around. Like I said, I think things are changing as we can see. But things I think are turning in our favor as far as the George Floyd situation and just the whole planet just kind of marching for us. So I think things are opening up for brothers. So the thing is, the world sees us. and whatever we producing, just kind of push it to the forefront and see, and let everybody view, see what's going on, so people can get behind you with their monies. And yeah, let's be proactive, and that's pretty much it.
Oh, okay. Good thoughts, brother. Appreciate you coming on the show.
No problem. Appreciate it.
Black Torch, last thoughts, brother.
I just say thank you again. Um, I'm sorry to be such a pain, but I I just want to
You
thank
good, bro.
everybody for and Edward, it's always a pleasure, and I still an open invitation to Ramil.
I think we might have lost Black Torch. I think we lost you, brother.
Oh damn! I thought my shit was going out again. I was like, fucking. Anyway.
Well, Edward, your last thoughts?
Yeah, my last thought. It's been great having a conversation with everybody. You know, a lot of what I want to do is push this conversation forward. I think a lot of times these conversations get bogged down, and the things that, quite frankly, are things that can be dealt with. You know, once we get there, they're not things that have to be done like immediately. Versus the overall bigger scope of what needs to be done needs to be understood. So we gotta stop trying to get caught up in people trying to act like they're smarter than other people. There's a difference between something that's actually gonna make a real difference in a conversation. And I'm not talking about Scientology, I'm talking about a lot of different stuff and whatever. Anyway, I'm gonna have a stream. I'm actually about to start a stream right now. So doing some fuckery talk as far as the hangout that I was on with MC Master Teacher. Definitely check him out. And I'll make sure I put your link on there to promote your channel so I can get you some, at least, some exposure.
Man, I appreciate that, bro. And that was a good show yesterday, man. That was a good show. You represented.
Oh yeah. Oh, well, I'm about to represent right now because I didn't get a chance to be on there that long. So this will allow people to give me my thoughts, and there's always a hidden reason why we do it. It's good for super chats, good for whatever. So yeah, if you wanna, I'm gonna be doing it for an hour and a half. So if you wanna pop on eventually while I'm doing it, you can definitely hear it in real time. But anyway, yep, appreciate it.
That's a bet.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I just want to thank the panel. Before I go, as Aziria23, I appreciate the super chat for the $10. He says, thank you guys for all the work you put in. I really appreciate that, brother. My closing thoughts. Everybody had a valid point on the panel today. Everybody came with nothing but truth to power as far as building, power talk. These conversations need to be had by Black men. In my personal opinion, I do feel like it's better for us to remove ourselves from the backyard of these oppressors. And that's just my personal opinion. You can build here, but it's going to be very difficult under the watchful eye of the enemy, the dominant society. Let's be honest. I do feel like we've had countless, situations where we was trying to build and it just was sabotage at the end of the day. Also, we got to be mindful that we've been put in this position. We was born into this. So we don't have any obligation to anybody as brothers with the so-called Black community. We really come from Black neighborhoods. Like my brother Edward say, got gynocracy, basically. So my brothers, I appreciate y'all listening to the stream. Keep them passports stamping, travel, explore, and bring back information, man. Let's find some countries out there. It ain't always got to be the Caribbean or, Brazil or Africa. It can be somewhere in Southeast Asia, but the thing is, let's just have the mindset of exploring and building with brothers. I think that's the biggest thing we got to do. And we got to remove that woman from the pedestal at the same time. In all honesty, man, a lot of brothers in this country are just really competing for female. You know what I'm saying? That's what most brothers are. Mindset is dominated by competing for females. That's why we really can't build anything here. It's better to go overseas where the females play more of a traditional role. And that's just my opinion. So, brothers, I am out, and I appreciate you coming on the show. I appreciate you listening to the show as well. Peace.